Hello there, everyone. Welcome to Nightmare Narratives. I am your storyteller, and I'm here to guide you tonight. I know many of you use these videos to drift off to sleep, so before we begin, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. I'm always curious. Where are you watching from and what time is it in your part of the world? Now find your cozy spot and relax. My name is Bobby Ray Mlelen. I'm 42 years old, and tonight I'm hunting my own flesh and blood through these dark mountains. It's Halloween 1988, and my nephew Billy's been missing for 3 days now. But this ain't no regular search party. I know exactly what happened to him. Same thing that happened to my grandpa back in the 30s. Same curse that's followed our family for generations. The air feels wrong tonight. It's October in Tennessee. Should be cool, maybe even a frost by now. Instead, it's hot as July. Must be nearly 95 degrees, even though it's close to midnight. My shirt sticks to my back as I follow Beauregard, my old hound dog, through the woods. That dog knows something I don't. He's leading me straight toward the old family cemetery, his nose never lifting from the ground. "What you got, Beau?" I whisper, my rifle heavy in my hands. Silver bullets ain't cheap, but they're the only thing that'll work on a Mlelen when the change takes hold. The forest is too quiet. No crickets, no owls, nothing but Beauregard's panting and my boots crunching on dead leaves. Something's scared everything away. 3 farms lost livestock this week, cows torn to pieces, chickens gone. All owned by families with Cherokee blood, families whose ancestors were pushed out by my great-great-grandpa back in 1838. That's when I knew the curse was back. I try my radio again, hoping to reach the sheriff, but all I get is static and then, God help me, a voice that's been dead for 100 years. "Bobby Ray," it crackles, sounding just like the recordings of my great-great-grandpa. "The boy needs teaching. Time for family reunion." I switch it off, my hand shaking. This curse ain't natural, and now it's getting stronger. The papers said something about Chernobyl fallout finally reaching our mountains. Nuclear stuff in the air, in the water. I don't understand the science, but I know this. Whatever turns a Mlelen into a monster is feeding on it, growing stronger. My Geiger counter, bought it after hearing about the fallout, starts clicking faster as we near the old Cherokee. Burial mounds, the needle jumps into the red. Something's happening here that ain't right. Then Beauregard stops dead in his tracks. His mouth opens, but what comes out ain't no dog sound. "Uncle Bobby," says Billy's voice, coming straight from my dog's throat. "I can't control it. Please help me." I nearly dropped my rifle. In all the stories my daddy told about the family curse, nothing like this ever happened. The moon breaks through the clouds, full and yellow as a wolf's eye. By its light, I spot something white stuck to a tree, papers, old and yellow. I peel them off, squinting to read in the moonlight. Civil War documents showing how my ancestors sold Cherokee land to the Union Army, land that wasn't theirs to sell, land with bodies buried on it. That's when the truth hits me like a shotgun blast. Billy ain't the first Mlelen to grow fur and fangs when the moon is full. He's just the latest payment in a debt that's been collecting interest for 150 years. And I'm the only one who can stop him before he makes that debt even bigger. I never wanted to believe in the family stories, tried to run from them my whole life. Growing up, Daddy would sit us down and explain why we kept silver bullets in the gun cabinet, why we had to check on each other during full moons, why some Mlelen names were never spoken at the dinner table. "Every 3rd generation," he'd say, voice low like he was afraid the walls might hear, "the curse picks a Mlelen to change." My grandpa was one of them. Changed in the summer of 1933, started killing livestock, then moved on to people. His own father, my great-grandpa, had to hunt him down and put him to rest. They say he cried for a week after, but he did what had to be done to protect everyone else. Now it's Billy's turn, my brother's boy, just 16 years old. I first noticed the signs 2 months back. Billy started getting angry over nothing. His eyes would catch the light funny, reflecting gold like a cat's. Then last week, the family dog turned up dead, torn apart but not eaten. Billy claimed he didn't remember doing it, but his sheets were stained with blood that morning. That night, he disappeared into the woods. What most folks don't understand is that Beauregard ain't just my dog. He's been with the Mlelen family since my grandpa's time. Never seems to age, never gets sick. Some nights, I catch him staring at the moon and wonder if he's more than just a hound. He's helping me track Billy, but I'm not sure whose side he's really on. Sometimes, I think he's leading me to save my nephew. Other times, I think he's delivering me to the curse. I tried running from all this, joined the army straight out of high school, fought in Vietnam, thought nothing could be scarier than those tunnels. But the things I did down there, the rage that took over, looking back, I think the curse was helping me survive. When I came home, I met Sarah at the diner in town. Thought maybe I could have a normal life. But after a bad nightmare about the war, I woke up with my face half changed, teeth sharp enough to draw blood when I kissed her. She was gone by morning, and I never blamed her. A Cherokee elder named Thomas caught me drinking behind the gas station a week later. Mlelen blood owes a debt, he told me, his face as serious as a heart attack. The boy will pay what his grandfather owed. I asked him how he knew about Billy. He just tapped his temple and walked away. Since then, I've been feeling it too. Each full moon brings something wild into my blood. My temper gets shorter, my senses sharper. I caught myself sniffing the air yesterday like an animal. Last night, I pulled out the old family Bible from the attic. Hidden in its pages is a record of every Mlelen who changed, their names, the dates, how they died. All of them killed by family, all of them buried with silver somewhere on their body to keep them from rising again. I don't want to kill Billy. He's just a kid who never asked for any of this. But I know what happens if I don't stop him. He'll kill innocent people. The curse will grow stronger. And in the end, someone else will have to hunt him down anyway. Better it be me, someone who loves him enough to make it quick. Beauregard leads me deeper into the woods, away from any trails tourists might use. The moonlight barely breaks through the trees here. My flashlight beam catches on something ahead, a clearing that shouldn't be there. When I step into it, my stomach turns. Trees all around are torn to shreds, like something with giant claws had a fit of rage. The ground is dark and wet, soaking up what I know is blood. Too much blood for whatever died here to have survived. In the middle of it all, I find Billy's clothes. The blue jeans his mama bought him for school, his favorite Tennessee Volunteers t-shirt, all ripped to pieces. Billy, I whisper, but I know he can't hear me. Not as himself, anyway. Something moves behind me. I spin around, rifle ready, but it's just Beauregard. He's got something in his mouth. He drops it at my feet, tail wagging like he's brought me a present. It's a backpack, not Billy's. Inside I find a map, a water bottle, and a wallet. Driver's license says the owner was a hiker from Ohio. There's pictures of a wife and kids tucked behind the credit cards. My hands start to shake. Billy's killed someone, an innocent person. Why'd you bring me this? I ask Beauregard. The dog just stares at me with eyes too smart for any normal hound, then turns and trots away, expecting me to follow. As we walk, I notice Billy's tracks changing. They start as human footprints, then slowly stretch and widen until they're not human at all. And they're big, bigger than any wolf or bear I've ever tracked. Whatever this nuclear fallout is doing, it's making the curse worse. Then I hear it, Billy's voice clear as day, though there's nobody around. Uncle Bobby, I killed someone. I liked it. Help me kill more. It's in my head, not my ears. The curse is trying to talk to me, trying to pull me in too. No, I say, out loud. That's not Billy talking. We reach a part of the mountain I've never seen before, though I've hunted these woods all my life. The trees thin out, and I find myself standing at the edge of a dip in the land, like a giant scoop was taken out of the mountain. My flashlight shows what's in that dip, and my blood goes cold. Bones. Hundreds of bones. Not all of them old. A mass grave, covered up by leaves and time, but now partially dug up by something with strong claws. These are Cherokee bones. Families killed by my ancestors, never properly buried, just covered up and forgotten. As I stand there, the Geiger, a counter in my pocket, starts going crazy. The needle hits the top of the scale. Whatever's in that grave, it's hot with radiation now. A few yards away, half buried in mud, I spot a notebook. Billy's journal. I recognize his messy handwriting right away. I sit on a fallen log and force myself to read it. October 28th. Something's happening to me. I dreamed I was running through the woods on all fours. Woke up with dirt under my fingernails. October 29th. Got so angry at school today. Felt like my skin was too tight. Saw my eyes in the bathroom mirror. They were yellow. October 30th. Blacked out last night. Woke up in the woods. Our dog was dead. I think I did it. God help me. The last entry makes my hands shake so bad I almost dropped the book. October 31st. There's something inside me. It took over. I remember everything it did. A kid was camping with his parents. Native American family. I watched them for hours. When the boy went to pee in the woods, I ate him. But the worst part is, I liked it. It felt right, like I was supposed to kill him. Like his fear was feeding something hungry inside me. I can't stop it. If you find this, Uncle Bobby, please kill me. I closed the book, feeling sick. This is worse than I thought. The curse isn't just turning Billy into a monster. It's making him hunt specific people. Cherokee descendants. Looking closer at the grave, I noticed something strange. The older bodies are just bones, but there are fresher ones too. Some look only years old, not centuries. This has been happening for generations. Mlelen werewolves have been hunting Cherokee people for 150 years, bringing their bodies here. When I look in a puddle of rainwater, my own reflection scares me. My eyes have a yellow tint in the moonlight. My teeth look sharper. My face a little longer than it should be. The curse isn't just after Billy. It's coming for me too. As I stand to keep moving, the air around me gets cold all of a sudden. Shapes like smoke drift up from the grave, taking human form for just a second before dissolving again. My radio crackles to life in my pocket, though I never turned it back on. Through the static, I hear voices, dozens of them, speaking together. Send us the boy. I'm still staring at my radio when a howl splits the night, not like any wolf or coyote I've ever heard. It's deeper, louder, like it's coming from something bigger than anything that should be in these mountains. Beauregard's ears perk up, and he starts whining, tail between his legs. Is that him, boy? Is that Billy? The dog looks at me with sad eyes, then turns and runs toward the sound. I follow, my heart pounding so hard I can feel it in my throat. We come to a clearing bathed in moonlight. And there, standing at the center, is something that makes my blood freeze. It looks like a wolf, but all wrong. It stands on two legs, towering at least 9 feet tall. Its body is covered in thick, dark fur, matted with blood and dirt. Muscles bulge under its skin like it's been lifting weights. Claws, as long as hunting knives, extend from massive paws. But the eyes, God help me, the eyes are Billy's. Bright blue, scared, and very human in that monster's face. When those eyes lock onto mine, the creature stops moving. Billy? My voice shakes. That you in there, boy? The beast's mouth opens, showing teeth that could snap a deer's spine in one bite. But what comes out is my nephew's voice, strained like he's fighting for every word. Uncle Bobby. It hurts. Everything hurts. I raise my rifle, but I can't seem to aim it right. This is my brother's son. The boy I taught to fish and hunt. I'm trying to fight it. Billy's voice says, though the monster's body is trembling, claws flexing like it wants to attack. But it's getting stronger. The hunger, it's all I can think about. Before I can answer, something rushes past me. A deer, but moving with purpose, eyes glowing with an unnatural light. It charges straight at me, not at Billy. I barely dodge. In time, firing a shot that misses completely. More animals emerge from the trees. Raccoons, opossums, even birds diving from branches. All with the same glowing eyes, all attacking me instead of running from the monster in the clearing. They're with me, Billy says, but his voice is changing, getting deeper. The Cherokee spirits. They control the animals now. They're helping me hunt. Beauregard starts growling, not at Billy, but at me. My loyal hound turns, baring his teeth, eyes glowing just like the other animals. He's always been theirs, not ours, Billy says. Beauregard has been leading Mlelen men to their deaths for generations, feeding us to the spirits as payment. The dog I've trusted all these years walks over to stand beside the monster that used to be my nephew. The animals, Billy continues, his voice shifting between human and something ancient. They show me who to hunt. Cherokee families we wronged. Been happening for generations. Every Mlelen werewolf kills the descendants of people our family. Hurt. My mind reels. But why? Why would the curse make you kill the very people it's supposed to be avenging? Billy's monstrous form shudders, and for a moment I see images in my head, like memories but not my own. Mlelen men across generations, transformed into beasts like Billy, hunting down Cherokee families, their blood feeding something dark and hungry in the ground of these mountains. The curse doesn't avenge them, Billy says. It feeds on them, on their fear and pain, and the nuclear stuff in the ground is making it stronger than ever. The Geiger counter in my pocket is going wild now, the clicking so fast it's almost a solid tone. Whatever radiation leaked into these mountains is changing the curse, supercharging it. I can feel myself getting stronger, Billy says. Bullets can't hurt me anymore. I heal too fast, and I can talk to the others now. Others? The word barely makes it past my lips. As if in answer, howls rise from all around us, different directions, different voices. Yellow eyes appear in the darkness between trees, more werewolves. The family is coming, Billy says. Cousins from Kentucky, second uncles from North Carolina, anybody with Mlelen blood. The curse is calling them all here tonight. I back, away as dark shapes move at the edge of the clearing, massive wolf-like creatures, some bigger than Billy, others smaller but just as deadly, all with human eyes in monstrous faces. A tall, ancient-looking werewolf steps forward. Something about his eyes reminds me of old photos of my great-grandfather. They've been doing this for generations, Billy says, but I'm different. I remember who I kill, I see their faces, and I know why I'm choosing them. Why? Why them specifically? Because they're trying to protect the burial grounds. Because they remember what our family did. Because their blood tastes like justice. I feel sick. All these years, I thought the curse was punishment for what our ancestors did. But it's worse. It's continuing their work, hunting down the people they tried to destroy. An old Cherokee man steps out from behind the trees. Not a werewolf, just a man. I recognize him. Thomas, the elder who warned me about Billy. But now, there's something different about him. His eyes glow like the animals, and when he speaks, it's with many voices at once. Give us the boy willingly, the voices say through Thomas's mouth, and your line ends clean. Resist, and the curse continues forever. As he speaks, I feel something changing in my own body. My senses sharpen, my muscles burn. My face stretches with pain as teeth too big for a human mouth push against my gums. The transformation that's been threatening all night is finally happening. Being this close to Billy, to the curse in its full power, has pushed me over the edge. It's happening to you too, Billy says, and for a moment he sounds like my nephew again, scared, confused. "Uncle Bobby, I can't stop hunting. Make it stop, please make it stop." Pain rips through my body as bones crack and stretch. My hands curl into claws. I can feel fur pushing through my skin, like thousands of needles. But my mind stays clear, clearer than it's been in years. Now I understand. The curse doesn't just take over. It shows you the truth, then lets you choose what to do with it. Thomas, still speaking with the voices of many Cherokee spirits, steps closer. "Decide now, Bobby Ray Mlelen. Give us the boy, or watch your entire family become what you fear." The other werewolves, my distant relatives, all drawn here by the curse, growl and pace around the clearing. Some look like they've been wolves for years. Others seem newly changed, still awkward in their monstrous bodies. I look at Billy. Behind those monster eyes, my nephew is still in there fighting. "What happens if I give him to you?" I ask Thomas. "His blood will seal the debt. The curse ends with him." "And if I don't?" Thomas's eyes flash. "Then the curse grows stronger. The radiation spreads it beyond your family. Soon, every third child born in these mountains will change with the full moon." My rifle feels heavy in my hands. 5 silver bullets left. Not enough for all the werewolves around us, but maybe enough for what needs to be done. "Billy," I say, my voice rough as my throat changes, "I promised your daddy I'd look after you." "Then help me," he begs. "Don't let me hurt anyone else." Before I can answer, Beauregard lunges, not at Billy, but at me. His teeth sink into my arm, forcing me to drop the rifle. The loyal dog I trusted is trying to protect Billy from what I might do. With strength I didn't know I had, I grab Beauregard by the scruff. The dog yelps and twists, teeth bared. For a moment I see a shimmer around him, like a ghost overlapping his body. This dog has been with my family for generations, never aging, never dying. "I'm sorry, old friend," I whisper, and snap his neck with one quick twist. A howl of rage comes from Billy as I pick up my rifle again. He charges at me, but halfway across the clearing he stops, fighting himself. "Do it," he growls. "Kill me before I hurt more people. Don't let me become like great-grandfather." The Geiger counter in my pocket is screaming now. The ground beneath us glows with a faint blue light. Whatever nuclear poison fell on these mountains is reaching some kind of peak, feeding the curse, making it spread. One of the other werewolves, a huge grey one with a scar across its muzzle, leaps at me. Before I can raise my rifle, Billy intercepts it, the 2 massive creatures crashing together in a fury of claws and teeth. "Run, Uncle Bobby!" Billy shouts between snarls. But I don't run. Instead, I take aim. The silver bullet catches the grey werewolf in the chest. It falls, body already changing back to human, some cousin I probably met at a family reunion years ago. More of them attack, and Billy fights them off, protecting me while I fire. 2 more shots, 2 more werewolves down, but with each one I kill, I feel the curse growing stronger in me. My bones are nearly done changing, my senses sharper than any humans should be, the hunger rising. "It's not working," I tell Thomas. "Killing them just moves the curse around." The old Cherokee nods. "Because they're not giving themselves willingly. The boy must choose to end it." Billy stands in the middle of the clearing, covered in blood. Some his, some from the other werewolves. His massive chest heaves with each breath. "I choose," he says, his voice more human than wolf now. "I choose to end it." He walks toward Thomas, but the remaining werewolves move to stop him. Billy fights them off, one by one, his movements getting slower as wounds open across his body. I raise my rifle one last time, 2 bullets left. "Billy," I call, "look at me." He turns, his blue eyes finding mine across the clearing. "I'm proud of you, son," I say, and I pull the trigger. The silver bullet hits him square in the chest. Billy doesn't howl or scream. Instead, a look of peace crosses his monstrous face as he falls to his knees. As his body slumps to the ground, a sound like thunder rolls across the mountains. The remaining werewolves freeze, then begin to change. Fur receding, bodies shrinking back to human. Thomas walks to Billy's body, kneels beside it, and places a hand on his chest. "The debt is paid," he says, his voice now just his own. He gave himself willingly. The blue glow in the ground fades. My Geiger counter goes quiet. The radiation that was feeding the curse seems to dissipate like morning fog. I look down at my own hands, expecting to see claws and fur. Instead, they're just hands, human hands. The pain in my body is gone. The change has stopped. "It's over," I ask, not quite believing it. Thomas nods. "For most of you, yes. The curse is broken. The spirits have their justice. Most of us." The old man looks at me with sad eyes. "You fired the shot that freed him. You made the choice. That binds you to these mountains now. I understand then. I'm not free. The curse has changed, not ended. I will live with this wolf inside me, not fully human, not fully beast." "What am I supposed to do now?" I ask. "These burial grounds need a guardian," Thomas says. "Someone to keep people away, someone to hunt any others who might prey on my people." I look around at the other Mlelen men and women, now fully human again, confused and frightened. "And them? They're free to go. But you might want to warn them. The curse may be broken, but the memories remain. Our spirits will be watching." The others gather their tattered clothes and begin to leave, casting fearful glances back at me, at Billy's body, at the old Cherokee man. I stay. That was 37 years ago. I still roam these mountains every full moon, keeping watch over the Cherokee burial grounds. I don't fully change, not like Billy did, but I'm not fully human either, something in between. Beauregard's ghost keeps me company some nights, no hard feelings between us now. He helps lead lost hikers away from the dangerous parts of the mountains. And every Halloween, when the barrier between worlds is thinnest, I see Billy. Not as the monster he became, but as the 16-year-old boy he was, sitting on his favorite rock by the creek, fishing pole in hand, smiling that crooked smile of his. "You did right by me, Uncle Bobby," he always says before he fades with the morning light. I hope he's right. Lord knows, I tried. They say the nuclear stuff is finally clearing from these mountains. The Cherokee spirits rest easier now. And as far as I know, no other Mlelen has shown signs of the curse, but on cold nights when the moon is full, I still patrol these woods, silver rifle in hand, just in case. Some debts, once paid, need to stay that way. My name is Marcus Kowalski, but everyone calls me Mac. The morning mist is thick today, clinging to the old cedar trees like ghostly blankets. It's quiet here in Olympic National Forest. Too quiet, like the forest is holding its breath. Something about it feels wrong, but I can't put my finger on why. I've been a park ranger for about 8 months now. It seemed like the perfect job after coming home from Vietnam. Peace, quiet, and lots of space to breathe. No people to bother me. No loud noises to make me jump, just me and the trees and the animals. This morning, I heard birds singing in a weird pattern. For a second, it sounded just like those Vietnamese voices I used to hear in the jungle, calling for help. I had to stop and remind myself where I was. Washington State, 1968, not Vietnam, not anymore. I feel safe out here on my own, miles from anyone else. My radio crackles at my hip. I should check in soon, but I've been putting it off. I don't know that it's been broadcasting my location for hours. Not yet, anyway. The sunrise looks strange through the trees today. The light breaks through in bursts that remind me of gunfire, flashes that take me back to nights in the jungle, nights I've tried so hard to forget. Sometimes I'm not sure if I'm really here in these woods or if I'm still back there, waiting for the next attack. Everything feels on edge these days, even out here in the middle of nowhere. The whole country is tearing itself apart over the war, over politics. Sometimes I swear even the animals are taking sides. I've got 3 more days out here before my replacement arrives. 3 days completely alone. My emergency beacon stopped. Working yesterday, just to equipment failure, I told myself. I didn't think much of it then. Now I'm not so sure. A deer appears on the trail ahead of me, watching me with eyes that seem too smart, too aware. It doesn't run away like it should. Instead, it just stares. And for a crazy second, I think I see dog tags hanging from its antlers, glinting in the morning light. I blink, and they're gone. Must be seeing things again. The fog is rolling in thick now, moving against the wind in a way that doesn't make sense. It's the kind of fog that swallows sounds, that hides what's coming until it's too late. The kind of fog that makes escape impossible. I know these trails like the back of my hand, but today they feel different. The ground is soft, muffling my footsteps. I realize I'm walking through a narrow valley, perfect ambush territory. Every shadow looks like a soldier crouching. Every bird call sounds like a signal. Every rustling leaf whispers, "Charlie's in the wire." My service record from Vietnam has holes in it. Big ones. There are whole weeks I can't remember. They tell me I was the only one who made it out alive from Operation Phoenix. But the thing is, I've never heard of Operation Phoenix. According to the military, it never happened. I can't remember how my platoon died. I've tried. God knows I've tried, but every time I get close, my head feels like it's splitting open and I hear screaming that won't stop. Sometimes my hands shake when I'm not moving. They're doing it now. The doctors call it nerves, but I think it's something else. Guilt, maybe. I have these memories, fuzzy ones, of giving injured soldiers shots to ease their pain. But lately, I've been wondering if that's really what I was doing. My hair turned grey 6 months after I got home. I'm only 27. The scars on my back ache before storms come, but they don't match anything in my medical file. I should have more scars than I do, or maybe fewer. I'm not sure anymore. "Come on, Ranger," I say to the empty air beside me. My German Shepherd died in the jungle too, years ago, but sometimes I forget. I still talk to him, still put out 2 bowls of food every morning, one for me, one for him. I pat the medical kit at my side. The canvas is stained dark in places, and I tell myself it's just dirt. Inside are drugs I don't remember getting, and tools that look more like they belong in an interrogation room than a first aid kit. I keep it anyway. You never know when you might need to help someone or hurt them. Everything I know about surviving in the wilderness, I learned in the army. Tracking, setting traps, making shelter. But sometimes I remember other training too. How to break someone down, how to make them talk, how to make it look like an accident. I spend most of my time checking on the family camping areas. I tell my boss it's because I want to make sure everyone's safe, and that's true. But there's more to it. Sometimes I hear voices warning me about hostiles coming for the families. No one else hears them, but I know they're real. They have to be. There are days when someone calls out Marcus, and I don't even turn around. But if they say Butcher 6, my body responds before my brain catches up. I don't know where that name came from or why it feels more like me than my real name does. I have caches hidden throughout my patrol area, supplies, weapons, things I might need in an emergency. The strange thing is, I don't remember making most of them. I just know they're there like I've always known. The forest is watching me. Today, I can feel it. Something's coming, something bad, and I'm not sure if I'm the hunter or the hunted anymore. I hear the sound of helicopter blades chopping through the air. Thwup, thwup, thwup. But when I look up, there's nothing there, just trees and grey sky. Then voices come through, radio chatter in languages I shouldn't understand, mixed with children singing songs that make my skin crawl. The animals are acting strange today. Usually I see deer, rabbits and squirrels on my patrols. But now, the forest seems empty. Only the ravens follow me, flying from tree to tree in a pattern that reminds me of how we used to scout enemy villages. They watch me with eyes that know too much. I stumble into a small clearing and freeze. There's a family's campsite ahead, but something's wrong. The way the tents are arranged, the stone circle for the fire, even the folding chairs. It's exactly like that village in Vietnam. The one I can't fully remember. My heart pounds as I step closer, half expecting to find bodies. Instead, there's just abandoned camping gear. But the burn marks on the ground match what I remember. Exactly the same pattern. A smell hits me that doesn't belong in these woods. Burning fuel and sweet jasmine, and something worse beneath it all. The smell of charred meat. My hands start moving on their own, miming actions I don't remember doing. Pulling pins, throwing, taking cover. Stop it, I tell myself. You're in Washington, not Vietnam. My hands keep moving anyway. I reach for my radio to call for help, but it's dead. The wires inside have been cut with precision. In its place is a note written in handwriting that looks like mine, but isn't. It says, "Mission active. Await further instructions. Phoenix Command." I try my backup flashlight. Dead too. Someone has removed the batteries and put them back. In backward. This isn't random. Whoever did this knows what they're doing, knows military protocol. My radio suddenly crackles to life, which should be impossible with cut wires. A voice comes through, my voice, speaking Vietnamese. I hear myself giving orders to fire on civilians, but I don't speak Vietnamese. I never learned it. At least, I don't think I did. I sit on a fallen log to catch my breath, and that's when I see them. Soldiers in torn uniforms standing between the trees. Their faces are familiar, men from my unit, men who died. They're looking at me like they're waiting for orders, and I can hear my own voice telling them to round up villagers. "You're not real," I say out loud. "You're dead." They don't answer. They just stare at me with empty eyes. I turn away and almost step on a dead raccoon. Then I notice more. Squirrels, birds, even a deer, all laid out in neat rows with little metal tags on them, like a body count. I pick up one of the tags and read a name. Maria Nguyen, age 8. I've never met anyone by that name, but somehow I know exactly what she looked like. What her voice sounded like when she begged me to stop. The air changes, becoming thick and hard to breathe. It smells like the chemicals they used to drop from planes. My vision blurs, and suddenly I'm not in the forest anymore. I'm standing in a burning village, holding a flamethrower. Children are running and screaming. I'm laughing. I blink, and I'm back in the forest. But I'm on my knees now, gasping for air. I need to get back to the ranger station. I take a trail. I've walked 100 times, but it doesn't lead where it should. Instead, I find myself in a small village with thatched huts. People are cooking dinner outside. They look up when they see me, and they smile. "We've been waiting for you," a woman says in perfect English. "Dinner is almost ready." Her face shifts between a Vietnamese woman I think I killed and a tourist I helped last week. I back away, turn, and run. The trail changes again, bringing me back to the woods I know. But nothing feels right anymore. The trees are too tall, the shadows too dark, and everywhere I look, I see faces watching me from behind leaves and rocks. I reach for my canteen and take a long drink. The water tastes metallic, like blood. I spit it out and check inside. It's just water, clean and clear. But the taste of blood stays in my mouth. Night is coming soon. I need to find shelter, somewhere safe. But I'm not sure anywhere is safe anymore. Not with what's following me, not with what's waiting in the dark. The worst part is, I'm starting to think the real danger isn't something out there in the forest. I think it's me. I find a small stream and splash cold water on my face. When I look down at my reflection, I jump back. The face staring back isn't mine. Or it is, but wrong. I'm wearing an officer's cap I don't own, and there's blood splattered across my cheeks and forehead. I touch my face. It's clean. I look again, and my normal reflection is there. But for a second, I saw something else. I saw the monster. I walk, I feel eyes on me, not animal eyes, human eyes. They follow me from the trees, from the rocks, from the clouds above. I know those eyes. They belong to people I've met before, people who aren't alive anymore. Leave me alone, I whisper, but the feeling gets stronger. Then I see a child standing in the middle of the path. A little Vietnamese girl in a white dress. She's missing an arm. Behind her appears an American soldier with a hole where his heart should be. Then a family I gave directions to last month, their camping gear still on their backs, but their eyes empty and accusing. "Why did you kill us?" the little girl asks in my voice, my exact voice coming from her small mouth. "I didn't," I say, but my hands shake because part of me knows that's a lie. "You did," says the soldier also in my voice. "You killed all of us." I pull my gun and fire at them. The bullets pass right through and thud into trees behind them. They don't even blink. More appear now, a circle of people surrounding me. Some in Vietnamese clothing, some in American uniforms, some in hiking gear, all staring, all speaking with my voice, all telling me things I did to them. "You injected me with air while I was sleeping," says a young soldier. "You told everyone. I died of my wounds. You poured gasoline on our hut and watched us burn," says an old woman. "You strangled me when I asked for directions," says a young man in a University of Washington t-shirt. I cover my ears, but I can still hear them. They know everything about me, every move I'll make, every path I'll take, every lie I tell myself, because they are me. They're the parts of me I've been running from. "Your name is Marcus Kowalski," they say together. "You were a medic in Vietnam. You were recruited for special operations. You killed for them. You kept killing when you came home." "No," I say, but my denial sounds weak, even to me. They start reciting names, ages, and last words, details only a killer would know. "Maria Nguyen, age 8. Please don't hurt my baby brother." "Private James Miller, age 19. I think I'm getting better, Doc." "Sarah Collins, age 22. Can you point me to the Ho River Trail?" I run, crashing through underbrush, not caring about the noise I'm making. The voices follow me. The forest itself seems to be speaking now, each tree a witness, each gust of wind carrying testimony against me. I trip over a root and fall, hard. When I look up, there's just one figure standing over me now. A Vietnamese man about my age, wearing a park ranger uniform just like mine. "Who are you?" I ask. "I'm the one you couldn't kill," he says. But now he's speaking in his own voice, not mine. "I've been following you for a long time, Butcher 6. "I don't know what you're talking about," I say, but the denial feels hollow. "You were the butcher of my village. You were the one who gave the orders. Then you came back to America and pretended to be normal. But you couldn't stop killing, could you?" Each word hits me like a physical blow. With each accusation, another piece of my mind cracks open, and memories I've kept locked away come flooding in. I remember now, not everything but enough. The special unit, the classified missions, the things we did in villages that never made it into any report. "You're not real," I tell him, but I'm less sure now. "I'm as real as your guilt," he says. "As real as the families you've been killing in these woods." And suddenly, I'm not sure which is the delusion. This man accusing me of murder or my entire life as a park ranger. What if I never left Vietnam? What if I never stopped killing? The man steps closer, and his face shifts between the Vietnamese, a villager, and my own reflection, like we're two sides of the same coin. "It's time to remember everything," he says, and deep down, I know he's right. But I'm terrified of what I'll find when all the walls in my mind come down. I wake up in my ranger cabin. Sunlight streams through the window. For a moment, everything feels normal. Just another day in the forest. Then I notice the mud caked on my boots by the door, the scratches on my hands, the torn uniform. Last night was real, or at least something happened. I go to the bathroom mirror and look at myself hard. "Who are you really?" I ask my reflection. My reflection doesn't answer, but the ranger cabin starts to fade around me. The walls become transparent, and beyond them I see flashes of other places. A military hospital, a secret briefing room, a village burning. I grab my logbook and flip through it. I've been keeping track of visitors to the park, families, hikers, campers. But now I notice something strange. Many of the names have little red marks beside them. I never noticed the marks before, or maybe I just didn't want to. With shaking hands, I pull out my park maps. There are areas marked with red X's that I don't remember marking. I count them. 12. The same number as the red marks in my logbook. No, I whisper. No, that's not possible. But a voice in my head, my voice but colder, whispers back, you know it's true. I grab my pack and head out. I need to check those marked spots. I need to know if I've really done what I'm afraid I've done. The first X leads me to a remote camping area that's off the main trails. The campsite looks normal at first. A fire pit, a fallen log used as a bench, a flat area where a tent once stood. But when I look closer, I see dark stains on the ground that rain hasn't washed away. I dig a little with my boot, and just below the surface, I find a torn piece of fabric. A child's t-shirt with a cartoon character on it. My head pounds. A memory flashes, a family of 4. They asked for directions. I offered to guide them to a better camping spot, away from the trails, away from witnesses. Stop it, I tell myself. That's not what happened. But another memory comes. Their faces when they realized something was wrong. The father trying to protect his family. The knife in my hand. I stumble away from the campsite, bile rising in my throat. This can't be real. I help people. I protect them. I'm one of the good guys, aren't I? I check another X on the map, and another. At each site, I find small signs that something terrible happened there. A broken pair of glasses, a single hiking boot, a camera with the film ripped out. And with each discovery, more memories break through. More faces, more screams, more blood on my hands. By the 5th site, I can't deny it anymore. I've been killing people in these woods. Systematically, methodically, just like I did in Vietnam. But why? How could I do these things and not remember? The answer comes in another flash of memory. A military hospital. Doctors in suits instead of uniforms. Words like conditioning and trigger response and sleeper agent. I wasn't just a medic in Vietnam. I was something else. Something they created for deniable operations. A weapon they could point at targets and then put back on the shelf, with no memory of what it had done. And somehow, those conditioning patterns have been triggered here in the forest, making me see enemies where there are only innocent people. I sink to my knees in the dirt. What am I supposed to do now? Turn myself in? Hello, police. I think I've been murdering park visitors, but I don't fully remember because I'm a brainwashed military assassin. They'd lock me up forever, or worse. They'd hand me back to whoever programmed me in the first place. The Vietnamese man appears again, standing among the trees. But this time, I don't think he's a hallucination. He's too solid, too real. You're starting to remember, he says. That's good. Who are you? I ask again. Really? My name is Min, he says. I was 9 years old when you and your unit came to my village. I hid in a rice barrel while you killed my family and everyone else. I've spent the last 5 years tracking you down. To kill me? He shakes his head. To make you remember, to make you face what you did. Death would be too easy. I look at him, this man who has every reason to hate me. There are others, I say quietly. Other men like me. Other villages. I know, he says. You're going to help me find them. For the first time in years, I feel something like hope. Maybe I can't undo the terrible things I've done, but maybe I can stop others from doing the same. But first, I have to face the truth. All of it, even the parts I've been hiding from myself. There's one more X on the map, I tell Min. The biggest one. I think that's where it all comes together. He nods. Then that's where we need to go. As we walk deeper into the forest, I feel the walls in my mind crumbling. Every step brings more memories, more horror, more truth. And with each revelation, I'm less sure which is more frightening, the monster I've been running from, or the monster I truly am. Min and I hike for hours through the darkening forest. The last X on my map is in the deepest part of the park, a place where even experienced hikers rarely go. "How much do you remember now?" Min asks as we walk. "Pieces," I say, "like a broken mirror. I see parts, but not the whole picture." "At the village," he says, "you weren't like the other soldiers. You gave orders, you watched, you took notes." Another memory surfaces, a clipboard, a stopwatch, men in suits observing from a distance. "It was an experiment," I whisper as the realization hits me. They wanted to see how effective the conditioning was, if the soldiers would follow any order no matter how terrible. "And you were in charge," Min says. It's not a question. We reach a clearing as the sun begins to set. At first it looks empty, just a grassy space surrounded by ancient trees. Then I notice the ground isn't quite right. There are mounds and depressions that shouldn't be there. "This is it," I say, my voice shaking. "This is where I've been bringing them." As if responding to my words, the clearing changes before my eyes. The mounds take shape, becoming what they really are, shallow graves. And sitting or standing around them are ghostly figures, all my victims, both from Vietnam and from the park. They don't speak this time, they just watch, waiting. I look down at my hands and see they're covered in dirt and blood. My uniform is torn and filthy. How long have I been like this? How long have I been living two lives? Park ranger by day, killer by night. "I don't understand," I tell Min. "Why don't I remember doing these things? How can I kill people and then just go back to normal life?" "Your mind protects itself," he says. "It creates walls between the different versions of you. The killer doesn't remember being the ranger. The ranger doesn't remember being the killer. Until now," I say. He nods. "Until now." I walk to the center of the clearing. The ghosts, or hallucinations or memories, whatever they are, part to let me through. At the center is a freshly dug hole, a new grave, waiting. "I don't want to be this person anymore," I tell Min. "I don't want to hurt anyone else." "I believe you," he says, "but it's not that simple. The conditioning runs deep. You might think you're cured, but then something triggers you, a sound, a smell, a pattern of light, and you become the killer again." "Then what do I do?" I ask desperately. "Face yourself," he says, "all of yourself. No more hiding, no more walls." As if on cue, a figure steps out from the trees on the far side of the clearing. It's me, or another version of me. This one wears a crisp military uniform with insignia I don't recognize. His face is my face, but harder, colder. His hands are clean, but I know they're responsible for far more blood than mine. "You've been busy, Butcher Six," my doppelganger says. "But sloppy. You left witnesses." "There weren't supposed to be any witnesses," I say, understanding now. "That was the point of sending me to isolated places. No one to see, no one to tell." "Exactly," he says, "but you missed one." He nods at Min. "And now we have a problem." "We?" I ask. "The program, the people who made us what we are, who gave us purpose. They turned me into a murderer." "They turned you into a weapon," he corrects, "an important distinction." I realize now what's happening. I'm not just remembering, I'm fracturing. The walls between my different selves aren't just coming down. They're rearranging. The killer, the ranger, the traumatized veteran, all fighting for control. "I'm going to fix this," my other self says, pulling out a knife. "I'm going to take care of the witness, and then I'm going to bury these troublesome memories so deep you'll never find them again. You can go back to being the good ranger blissfully, unaware. No, I say, stepping between him and Min. No more killing, no more forgetting. He laughs. You don't have a choice. This is what we were made for. He lunges at me with the knife. I dodge, but barely. He's faster, stronger, more certain than I am. We fight across the clearing, disturbing the shallow graves. The ghosts watch silently. Min tries to help, but my other self is too quick. He slashes Min across the arm, sending him stumbling back. You can't beat me, my doppelganger taunts. I'm the real you, the original. The ranger, the confused veteran. They're just covers, masks. You're wrong, I gasp, bleeding from a cut on my side. You're just one piece. We all are. I see now what I have to do. I can't beat this other version of myself through force. I have to accept him, integrate him, make us whole again, no matter how painful. I remember everything now, I tell him. Vietnam, the program, the park, all of it. Doesn't matter, he says. I'll make you forget again. No, I say. Not this time. I drop my defensive stance and stand straight. I know what I am, what we are, and I accept it. For the first time, uncertainty crosses his face. What are you doing? Becoming whole, I say. I step forward and embrace him. It feels like hugging a mirror. For a moment, he struggles against me. Then slowly he melts into me. The separate pieces of my fractured mind coming back together. Memories flood in, not just fragments now, but complete scenes, whole years of my life. The pain is almost unbearable, but I hold on, accepting. It all, the good and the terrible. When it's over, I'm on my knees in the dirt, alone. The ghosts are gone, the graves remain. I look up to see Min watching me, holding his wounded arm. Did it work? He asks cautiously. Yes, I say. I remember everything now. The weight of those memories threatens to crush me, but I bear it. And I know what I have to do. I stand up and look around the clearing one last time. There are 12 families who need closure, I say. 12 murders to solve. And then there's Vietnam, the program, the others like me who might still be out there, killing without remembering. It won't be easy, Min says. The government will bury it. They'll say you're crazy. They might even try to reactivate your conditioning. I know, I say, but I have to try. Will you help me? He considers for a long moment, then nods. Yes, for my family, for all of them. As we leave the clearing, I know this isn't a happy ending. There's no undoing what I've done, no making it right. But maybe, just maybe, I can stop it from happening again. I can make sure the memory thieves who stole my humanity and the humanity of others like me don't get away with it. The sun is setting as we reach the trail. Tomorrow, I'll turn myself in. I'll tell them everything. Some will believe me, most won't. But the truth will be out there. For the first time in years, I feel fully present in my own skin, whole, terribly, flawed but whole. And as darkness falls over the forest, I make a promise to all those I've hurt. I will remember you, always. No matter what they do to me, I will never forget again. My name is Thomas Sterling, but everyone calls me Tommy. I've been a park ranger at Glacier National Park for 3 years now, and I thought I knew what winter could do. I was wrong. December hit us like God's own punishment this year. The blizzard came without warning, turning the world white in a matter of hours. It wasn't just any snow. This stuff burned when it touched bare skin and tasted like metal when it melted on my tongue. Reminded me of what they said nuclear fallout might be. Like, maybe that's why I've been on edge. The radio doesn't help. Every time I try to check in with headquarters, the static cuts in like a knife. Sometimes I swear I hear Russian voices mixed in with the usual Park Service chatter. Civil defense warnings too, talking about taking shelter and staying indoors. The strangest part? There's always this breathing sound in the background, getting closer with each broadcast. I've turned my ranger station into something more like a bunker. Some might call it paranoid, but I call it prepared. canned food stacked to the ceiling, water purifiers, ammunition that no park ranger should legally have. When the bombs finally drop, and they will drop the way things are going with the Soviets, I'll be ready. It's 1983, and the whole country feels like it's holding its breath. President Reagan keeps talking tough about the evil empire, and every news report makes it sound like we're one button push away from the end. Out here in the wilderness, every strange sound could be the beginning of the end. Was that just the wind or the whistle of incoming missiles? Are those deer tracks deformed from radiation? My mind goes to dark places in the endless white. The cold does something strange to time. My watch runs backwards during the worst of the blizzards. I've checked it 3 times, even replaced the battery, but it happens without fail. Minutes stretch into hours when the temperature drops below 0. Sometimes I'll think I've been on patrol for an hour, only to return and find 10 minutes have passed. Other times I blink and lose entire afternoons. I'm not the only one acting strange. Out here, last week I spotted a pack of white wolves moving through the valley. Not unusual for this area, except they were in perfect formation, like soldiers on patrol. When they looked at me, their eyes reflected something I recognized from my time. In the service, intelligence, purpose, training. Wolves don't move like that naturally. The weather itself seems to have it out for me. Every time I try to radio for help or report the strange things I've been seeing, the blizzard intensifies. Wind screams through the trees, snow blinds me, and the radio dies. It's as if the storm is keeping me isolated on purpose. The landscape has become treacherous in ways that don't make sense. Ice caves appear where none existed before. Snow bridges collapse the moment after I cross them. Yesterday, I nearly fell into a crevasse that wasn't on any park map. The mountains themselves feel like they're trying to swallow me. Every survival instinct I have is screaming that something big is coming. That's why I've stockpiled supplies, why I sleep with my rifle within reach. But lately, I've started to wonder if all my preparations are exactly what's going to get me killed. Like I'm being led down a path someone else designed. The storm is picking up again, the windows are rattling, and that metallic snow is piling high against the door. I should be safe here in my little fortress, but I can't shake this feeling, the feeling that I've built myself the perfect trap. I wasn't always a park ranger. Before this, I served in special forces until they decided I wasn't fit for duty anymore. Psychological unsuitability, they called it. That's what happens when you start asking too many questions about weather. Patterns that don't make sense, and government experiments that nobody wants to talk about. The truth is, I think this ranger job is more than it seems. My bosses say I'm here to protect the wilderness and help lost hikers. But some nights, when the radio crackles with voices that shouldn't be there, I wonder if I'm really here to watch. For Soviet tests, they've been messing with the weather, trying to turn nature into a weapon. I'm sure of it. There's a chunk of my military service I can't remember. A whole mission gone. All I have is a medical file marked Project Wendigo that says I volunteered for something. Volunteered. That's the part that scares me most. What would make me sign up for something so secret that my own mind had to forget it? My body has been different since then. The cold doesn't bite like it used to. I can go days without food, though when hunger does hit, it's almost painful. The other rangers need heavy coats when it's 20 degrees, but I'm comfortable in just a flannel shirt. They joke that I must have antifreeze in my veins. If only they knew how close to the truth they might be. I still get my orders. Command checks in every Tuesday at 2200 hours. The park supervisor looked at me funny when I mentioned this. "What command?" she asked. "We don't have night radio checks." But I hear them, clear as day. Instructions, coordinates, code phrases that make my body move before my brain understands why. My gear isn't standard issue either. The cold weather suit I keep for emergencies has little tubes and pouches built into it. Delivery systems for something I'm supposed to inject when the time comes. I don't remember getting this equipment, but my hands know exactly how to use it. I can track anything through snow. Doesn't matter if the trail is hours old or if another storm has passed through. I can find it. The other rangers think I'm just good at my job. Truth is, I see things they don't. Heat signatures lingering. In the snow, scent markers that should be too faint to detect. Sometimes I wake up miles from my cabin with no memory of how I got there, but a perfect awareness of how to get back. Every day, I record everything I see. Weather changes, animal movements, unusual tracks. I write it all down in my journals, then copy the important parts into coded messages that I send to a P.O. box in Maryland. Nobody ever writes back, but the box never gets full either. Someone's reading what I send. Sometimes people call me by names that aren't mine. A hiker last summer called me Frostbite before correcting himself, embarrassed. A Park Service helicopter pilot nodded at me and said, "Good hunting, Wendigo," like it was the most natural thing in the world. Neither of them seemed to notice their mistake, but the names echoed in my head like I should recognize them. I've built up enough supplies to survive nuclear winter. Radiation tablets, iodine, air filters, the works. But lately, I've been finding strange equipment mixed in with my survival gear. Syringes filled with blue liquid, a muzzle-like mask with filtration systems too advanced for civilian use, restraints that could hold something much stronger than a man. It's like I'm preparing for a different kind of disaster than the one I think is coming. The snow is getting deeper outside, 3 feet now and still falling. Command says to stay put, monitor the situation. The Rangers think the radio is down, but I hear the transmissions just fine. They're telling me the feeding season is about to begin. I just wish I knew what that meant. The radio started talking to me in my own voice last night. At first, I thought it was feedback or some kind of echo, but then I realized the words coming through weren't ones I was saying. It was me reporting on tests I don't remember doing, describing changes in the subject that sounded an awful lot like what's been happening to my body. Something else is wrong in the park. The bears should be hibernating, and the deer should be in the lower valleys, but I haven't seen a single animal in days. It's like they all packed up and left. The only traces are weird heat marks in abandoned dens, not normal animal shapes, but patterns that look like the DNA diagrams I remember from high school science. I found it yesterday, 5 miles north of my cabin, hidden behind a rock face that didn't look quite right. A metal door, painted to match the stone, with a keypad I somehow knew the code for. Inside wasn't a weather station like the sign claimed. It was a lab, clean and white and cold, with machines humming away even though nobody was there. And files, stacks of them with my name on top. Next to them were test tubes with samples labeled Sterling T Phase 3. I brought some of the snow back to test it. My cabin has a small kit for checking water quality, but it showed something else entirely. The snow is full of chemicals, stuff that doesn't belong in nature, the same blue liquid I found in those syringes. The report said it helps people handle extreme cold and reduces hunger. Exactly what I've been experiencing. Holding that test tube triggered something. Memories started coming back in flashes, sitting in an office with men in military uniforms, signing papers, a doctor explaining that I would be helping America prepare for survival in extreme conditions. Me nodding along, eager to serve my country, letting them inject me with something that burned worse than the coldest wind. My equipment is working against me now. The GPS keeps leading me in circles, always bringing me back to that hidden lab. No matter which direction I hike, the emergency beacon I'm supposed to use if I get in trouble, it doesn't call for help. I tested it, and instead of the rescue frequency, it broadcasts some kind of identification signal, like it's tagging me. The worst part was finding the tapes, voice recordings of therapy sessions I don't remember having. My voice, calm as can be, talking about hunger unlike anything I'd felt before, about dreams where I hunted things that weren't animals, about how the cold made the hunger worse, but also gave me strength. The doctor asking if I would agree to treatment, and me saying yes. God help me, I said yes. I'm changing. That's the truth I've been avoiding. This morning, I found what looked like shed skin in my bed, tough and grey. There were teeth on my pillow, my teeth, but bigger than they should be, sharper. I checked my mouth in the mirror, but everything looked normal. For now, the storm equipment is all over the park, not just the weather stations marked on the maps, but dozens of smaller devices hidden in trees, under rocks, even buried in the snow. They're monitoring more than temperature and wind speed. They track movement, heat signatures, biological changes, and they all turn to follow me when I walk past, like cameras watching my every move. I know the truth now. I'm not here to be a park ranger. I'm not even here to watch for Soviet tests. I'm the test. Some kind of biological weapon experiment disguised as park service duty. The isolation, the supplies, the training. It's all to see how the changes progress, how the hunger develops. They're turning me into something else, something that can survive and hunt in conditions no normal human could endure. The blizzard is getting worse. The temperature has dropped to 30 below. Any normal person would be dead in hours out there. But I'm thinking about going for a walk. The cold feels good now, and I'm so hungry. I saw it last night. Or maybe I saw me. I'm not sure anymore. I was checking the perimeter of my cabin, something I do every few hours now. The snow had finally stopped, and the moon lit up the landscape like it was daytime. That's when I saw my reflection in the frozen surface of the lake, except it wasn't right. The thing looking back at me was wearing my ranger uniform, had my face, but it was all wrong. Too tall, maybe 15 feet high, too thin, its arms hung down past its knees, ending in hands with fingers like icicles, and its eyes, my eyes, glowed with a hunger I recognized. I'm being watched by what I'm becoming. That's the only way I can explain it. Sometimes I'll be hiking and feel eyes on me, turn around and catch just a glimpse of something ducking behind a tree. Something big that moves too fast. Something that knows exactly where I'm going because it's already been there. The creature has my face, but stretched over a skull that's all wrong. When it moves, it's like watching a military training video on fast forward. It uses cover. It sets ambushes. Last night, it herded a lost hiker right toward my cabin. Not to help him, but to offer him to me, like it was bringing me a gift, teaching me to hunt. It spoke to me, used my voice, but deeper, hollow sounding, like it was coming from the bottom of a well. It recited my psychological profile word for word. Subject displays enhanced territorial instincts and accelerated adaptation to environmental stress. Then it told me how hungry it was, how hungry we both were. My weapons don't scare it. I fired a warning shot when it got too close to my cabin, and it just tilted its head like I'd told a joke it didn't understand. The bullet hit it square in the shoulder, and the wound closed up almost instantly. Whatever they've turned me into, it's not something that can be killed easily. The more I see it, the more I remember agreeing to this. Sitting in briefings where they explained the Wendigo protocol, a way to create soldiers who could operate in nuclear winter conditions, who could survive on minimal resources, who could track and hunt enemies across frozen wastelands. The perfect cold weather weapon. Each time we meet, it feels less like facing a monster and more like looking in a mirror. It knows what I'm thinking before I think it. It finds me no matter where I hide. Yesterday, I set a trap using techniques from my Special Forces training and found it had set the exact same trap 10 yards away. We're the same, just at different stages of the process. The thing, the Wendigo, follows rules, military rules. It won't attack me directly yet. It's assessing me, testing me, seeing if I'll complete the transformation on my own or if it needs to help me along. It leaves signs I've been trained to recognize. broken branches pointing in specific directions, stones arranged in patterns that spell out map coordinates, leading me somewhere. I understand now what I'm meant to become. The final stage of Project Wendigo, a soldier who needs no food drops, no winter gear, no backup. The perfect survivor for the nuclear wasteland everyone thinks is coming. What's happening to me isn't some accident or side effect. It's exactly what I signed up for, what I volunteered to become. The hunger is getting worse. Food doesn't satisfy it anymore. I caught myself staring at my own arm yesterday, wondering how it would taste. The Wendigo knows. I can see it in its eyes when it watches me from the tree line. Patient, waiting for me to accept what's happening. Command hasn't broadcast. In 3 days, the regular rangers can't get through because of the storm, but I know the silence is deliberate. They're waiting to see what I'll do now that I'm starting to understand, now that I'm starting to change. The final test has begun. The coordinates the Wendigo left me point to the hidden lab. I think it's time I went back there. Time to face what I'm becoming. The storm has died down enough to travel. I've packed my gear, what little I'll need. The cold doesn't bother me at all now. I'm leaving this recording in case someone finds my cabin. In case there's anything left of Tommy. Sterling, after tonight, the hunger is calling. The feeding season has begun. The hike to the lab should have taken hours in these conditions. I made it in 40 minutes. My legs carried me through snowdrifts like they were nothing. The cold air in my lungs felt good, right somehow. I didn't even need a flashlight. My eyes adjusted to the dark as if it were daylight. The lab door was already open when I arrived. Inside, emergency lights cast everything in a red glow. Someone had been here recently. Drawers pulled open, files scattered across the floor. My files. Photos of my transformation over the past months. Charts showing chemical changes in my blood. Notes about my exceptional adaptation rate. On the main computer screen, a message flashed. Protocol choice required. Below it, 2 options. Transformation. Completion or containment activation. A final test. A final choice. I understood everything now. The lab wasn't just monitoring me, it was changing me step by step. The radio transmissions, the special equipment, even the chemicals in the snow, all designed to trigger the transformation. And now I had to decide, become the monster completely or destroy it. In the corner of the room was a cabinet of injections, the same blue liquid I'd found in my gear. According to the labels, they were what kept my enhanced abilities stable. Without regular doses, the changes would become unpredictable, painful. I realized I'd been injecting myself for months, thinking it was just normal medication. My hands had known what to do even when my mind didn't remember. The lights flickered, and I felt it before I saw it. The Wendigo was in the lab with me. My Wendigo. It moved with terrible grace for something so large, sliding between equipment banks like smoke. In the red emergency lighting, it looked like something torn from a nightmare. My face stretched over a skull, too large, too inhuman, my ranger uniform hanging in tatters from its frame. Complete the protocol, it said in my voice. Become what you were meant to be. I backed away, bumping into a desk. My hands found a syringe of blue liquid. The hunger clawed at my insides, worse than ever before. I knew that one more injection would ease it, would help me complete the change. You volunteered, the Wendigo reminded me. You wanted to be the perfect survivor. Memories flooded back. The briefings, the procedures, the gradual changes. I had volunteered, believing I was helping create soldiers who could survive nuclear winter. I never understood I was becoming something else entirely, something that hungered for more than just survival. I can stop this, I said, my voice shaking. I can activate containment. The Wendigo tilted its head. You won't survive without the treatments. Your body is already past the point of return. It was right. I could feel it. The withdrawal already starting as my system craved the blue liquid. My skin felt too tight, my teeth too large for my mouth. I was changing whether I wanted to or not. The only question was whether I'd control it or let it control me. I lunged for the computer terminal, fingers flying over the keyboard. The Wendigo moved with incredible speed, but it didn't attack. It just watched, curious, testing me still. Containment protocol activated, the screen announced. Facility self-destruct in 5 minutes. The Wendigo's expression shifted, not anger, but something like approval. The final test, it said. Sacrifice. Alarms blared. Through the facility, red lights flashed as blast doors began to close. I had 5 minutes to escape, or I'd be buried with this place. But I couldn't leave, not if it meant the Wendigo would escape too, not if it meant others would suffer this fate. You think destroying this facility ends the program? The Wendigo's laugh was hollow. You're not the only one, Tommy, just the most successful. It moved closer, its body seeming to grow larger in the confined space. The transformation can't be stopped now. The explosion won't kill you. It will complete what the chemicals started. I backed away, looking for a weapon. Anything. My hand closed around a fire axe mounted on the wall. I won't become you, I said. You already are me, it replied. 3 minutes left. The hunger was overwhelming now, tearing at my insides. My skin felt like it was splitting along my spine. The Wendigo watched, patient, as I dropped to my knees, not attacking, just waiting. That's when I understood. This was the real test. Not whether I would transform, but whether I could be controlled afterward. Whether the perfect winter soldier would still follow orders once it became a monster. You were never going to kill me, I gasped through the pain. Command wants to know if I'll still obey. The Wendigo's smile stretched too wide across its face. The feeding season requires discipline, soldier. 2 minutes. The lab was starting to shake as the self-destruct sequence engaged. I staggered to my feet, axe in hand. Not to fight the Wendigo, but to smash the remaining samples, the computer banks, anything that held data about the project. Others will come, I said between swings. Other rangers, other soldiers. They already have, the Wendigo replied. Across the park system, across the northern border, all preparing for the winter that's coming. 1 minute. The room was destroying itself, ceiling panels crashing down, electrical fires breaking out in the equipment. Through the chaos, a final. Transmission came through on the lab speakers. Command's voice, cold and clear. Project Wendigo Stage 1 complete. Subject Sterling has passed final evaluation. Proceed to deployment phase. The Wendigo, my future self, nodded at me. The choice was never containment or transformation. It was whether you would remain a soldier once transformed. It gestured to the destruction around us. Your loyalty is confirmed. The program continues. The last thing I remember before the explosion was the hunger finally winning. My skin splitting open along my back, my bones cracking and reforming. The taste of metal in my mouth as my teeth pushed through my gums. I woke up miles away, in a snow cave I don't remember digging. The hunger was gone, replaced by a sense of fullness and strange satisfaction. My uniform was in tatters, stained with something I didn't want to identify. My body, no longer completely mine, felt powerful, cold, perfect. The radio at my hip crackled to life. Command's voice came through, crisp and clear despite the storm that had resumed outside. Report status, Wendigo 1. My voice, when I responded, was still mine, but deeper, hollow. Transformation complete, awaiting orders. Proceed to secondary testing ground. New subjects are being prepared. I stepped out into the blizzard, the cold air feeling like home against my new skin. In the distance, I could see lights. Another ranger station, another test subject. The feeding season had just begun, and somewhere, in what remained of my human mind, I knew that this report would be read. that others would learn about Project Wendigo, that they too would be asked if they would volunteer to survive what's coming. Would you? My name is Dave Brennan, and I've been a park ranger at Mammoth Cave National Park for almost 3 years now. I still remember my first day underground, how the cool air wrapped around me like a blanket, how the silence felt like a friend. People think it's strange when I tell them I feel safer down here than I do up on the surface. They don't understand. Nobody does. The year is 1987, and the world above ground is a mess. Every day the news talks about Iran-Contra and government lies. People don't know who to trust anymore. Down here, at least I know where I stand. Or at least that's what I thought. It started with whispers. At first I blamed it on tourists wandering off the path, their voices bouncing off the limestone walls. That's what I told myself. Caves do funny things with sound. A whisper in one chamber can travel for miles through these tunnels, clear as day. Some days you'll hear laughter from tours that passed through hours ago. But these whispers were different. They came when nobody else was around, when I was alone on my final sweep before closing the park. He knows what you did, Dave. I spun around, my flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. Nothing, nobody. Dave, why did you do it? The voice sounded like my father's, but that was impossible. My father was dead, killed in a mining accident 5 years ago. An accident that wasn't really an accident. I've noticed other things too. The limestone formations seem to be listening, recording. Sometimes when I pass by certain chambers, I hear conversations from weeks ago, my own voice echoing back at me, revealing things I never meant anyone to hear. My radio picks up strange transmissions, voices discussing geological assets and extraction opportunities in areas of the park that are supposedly protected. Company names I recognize from my mining days. But when I check the logs, there's no record of these broadcasts. The blind cave fish are acting strange too, swimming in formation patterns that remind me of classified documents I once saw about submarine movements. It's like everything down here is part of some big operation that nobody told me about. The air feels different lately, heavier, like it's filled with secrets pressing down on my lungs. Sometimes I have to stop and catch my breath, feeling like I'm drowning in knowledge I'm not supposed to have. And the formations, I swear they've moved. The stalactites and stalagmites aren't where they used to be. They're positioned in ways that make me think of microphones, of listening devices. Like every word spoken down here is being collected and stored. Yesterday, I stood in Echo River Hall and heard my own voice. Not from minutes ago, but words I haven't spoken yet. A warning, a scream, the sound of my own death. I know how crazy this all sounds. Maybe it's just the cave playing tricks on me. Maybe it's guilt eating away at my mind. Or maybe these ancient stones really do remember everything that's ever happened in their presence, including things that haven't happened yet. Either way, I can't shake the feeling that something down here knows what I did, what I helped cover up, and it's getting ready to make me pay. I just wish I'd realized sooner that when I came down here to escape my past, I was actually walking right into its open jaws. I wasn't always a park ranger. 5 years ago, I was a foreman at the Blackwater coal mine, just 30 miles from here. My dad worked there too. He was so proud when I got promoted to foreman, even though I was only 32. My boy, he'd say, slapping my back, running the show now. If only he knew what kind of show I was really running. The mine owners wanted more coal, faster, cheaper. They didn't say, cut corners on safety, not in those exact words. They just set impossible quotas and looked the other way when we had to bend the rules to meet them. I still see their faces sometimes. The men on my crew, Bobby with his jokes, Mike who was saving for his daughter's college, and my dad with his worried eyes whenever the gas detectors started beeping. We should evacuate, Dad said that day, looking at the readings. These levels aren't safe, Dave. But the quota was due, and the bonus money was good, so I told him the detector was broken. I told everyone it was broken. "Just 2 more hours," I said. "We'll fix it tomorrow." The explosion happened 45 minutes later. They said it was quick, that the men didn't suffer. I know that's a lie. I heard their screams over the radio before it went dead. The official report blamed faulty equipment. Not the foreman who ignored the warnings, not the company that pushed for more coal, no matter the cost. They even gave me a settlement payment. Blood money. What nobody knows, what nobody can ever know, is that Dad found something before the explosion. Papers in the manager's office showing this wasn't the first time. That there had been other accidents at other mines owned by the same company. All covered up, all profitable. Dad confronted me, said he was going to the authorities, said he had evidence. We argued at the coalface, away from the others. When he turned to walk away, I grabbed a pry bar. I still don't know if I meant to kill him or just stop him, but when he fell, he hit his head on the mining equipment. There was so much blood. The explosion covered it all up. Perfect timing. They found his body near the blast site. No one questioned the injuries. I have scars too, not just the ones you can see on my arms and back from the rescue. The ones inside are worse. Every night I see their faces. Every night I hear them asking, why, when I took this ranger job, I thought the caves would be quiet. A place to hide, a place where the dead couldn't follow. I was wrong. These caves remember everything. The limestone formations record our voices, our breaths, our secrets. And lately, they've been playing it all back to me. Sometimes I take visitors through a tight passage we call the squeeze. They laugh nervously as they wiggle through. They don't know I've memorized every crack and crevice in these caves because I once looked for places to hide things. Or people. My ranger equipment isn't just for show. The extra rope, the crowbar, the collapsible shovel. I tell people they're rescue tools, and they are. But they could be used for other things too. Things I think about when the voices get too loud. Yesterday, a new tour group arrived. Among them was a young woman named Rebecca Torres, a geology student, smart, curious, asks too many questions. She reminds me of my dad. As I led them deeper into the cave, I couldn't help thinking how easy it would be if someone got separated from the group. How these caves have pockets no one has mapped yet. Places where sounds don't travel, where secrets stay buried. I fingered the handle of my flashlight, calculating how much force it would take. One more death to protect all my secrets. But I'm not that person anymore. I can't be, can I? Mammoth Cave has over 400 miles of mapped passages, I tell the tour group, shining my flashlight on the limestone walls. And we discover more every year. It's the longest known cave system in the world. The tourists nod and snap photos. All, except Rebecca Torres. She's studying the rock formations, running her fingers along the wall. Something about her makes me nervous. You seem to know a lot about caves, Miss Torres, I say, trying to sound friendly. You said you're studying geology? She looks up and smiles. Yes, but my focus is actually on cave acoustics. The way sound travels through these chambers is fascinating. My stomach tightens. Acoustics. Sound can do strange things in caves, she explains. A whisper in one chamber can be heard clearly half a mile away. Caves are like nature's recording studios. The other tourists have moved ahead, touching the formations despite my earlier warnings not to, but Rebecca stays close to me. I'm doing my thesis on how limestone might actually preserve sound waves, she continues. Like how tree rings record years of growth, I think these formations might hold echoes from the past. My mouth goes dry. That's just a theory, right? It's not really possible. That's what I'm here to find out. She pats her backpack. I've brought some equipment to measure acoustic anomalies. Park management approved my research project. Of course they did. No one consulted me. I'd love to have your help, Ranger Brennan, she says. You know these caves better than anyone. Maybe you could show me some of the less traveled sections. Areas with unusual echo patterns. This is bad, very bad, but I force a smile. I'd be happy to help, and please call me Dave. We catch up with the rest of the group in the Grand Cathedral chamber. The ceiling towers 80 feet above us, stalactites hanging like stone daggers. If everyone could be quiet for a moment, I say, I'll demonstrate something special about this chamber. The tourists fall silent. I clap my hands once, and the sound bounces around us, echoing for nearly 30 seconds. Wow, someone whispers when it finally fades. Now imagine, I tell them, if these walls could replay every sound they've ever heard. Rebecca's eyes light up. That's exactly what I'm researching. After the tour ends, most of the group heads back to the visitor center, but Rebecca lingers. When can we start my research? She asks. I only have a week here. How about tomorrow, I suggest. We can go early before the first tours. I'll show you some interesting acoustic spots. She agrees eagerly, then hands me a small device. This is an echo mapper I developed. Would you mind carrying it on your next rounds? It records sound patterns. I take it reluctantly. Sure. That night, I can't sleep. I pace my small cabin at the edge of the park, Dad's old mining helmet sitting on my shelf like an accusation. Inside it, tucked into the liner, are the papers he found, the evidence. I should have destroyed them years ago, but something always stopped me. Maybe it was knowing that someday I might need to prove I wasn't the only one responsible. As I finally drift off to sleep, I hear a familiar voice. She'll find out, Dave. The cave will tell her everything. Morning comes too quickly. I meet Rebecca at the park entrance before sunrise. She's eager, her backpack full of equipment. I've mapped our route, I tell her, showing a park map with my planned path marked in red. We'll start with Echo River, then visit the Rotunda and Fairy Ceiling. What I don't tell her is that these are all well-traveled, well-documented areas, safe areas, far from the deeper chambers where I've spent so many solitary hours, far from my secrets. Great, she says. And maybe, after lunch, we could check out some of the unmapped areas you know about? The ones not on official tours? I stare at her. How does she know about those? I've been talking to some of the other rangers, she explains, noticing my expression. They said you've explored parts of the system no one else has, that you know Mammoth Cave better than anyone alive. Better than anyone alive, yes, but the dead know it too, and they're waiting for us below. Let's see how the morning goes, I say, leading her toward the cave entrance. Some of those places can be dangerous, more dangerous than she knows. The morning passes quietly as I lead Rebecca through the main chambers. She sets up her equipment, takes readings, and scribbles notes. Nothing unusual happens, and I start to relax a little. These readings are interesting, she says, as we eat our packed lunches by Echo River. The underground stream flows silently beside us, the water so clear you can see every pebble on the bottom. But I'm not getting the anomalies I expected. What kind of anomalies? I ask, trying to sound casual. She swallows a bite of her sandwich. Rhythmic patterns that don't match natural cave sounds. Echoes that last longer than they should. She taps her notebook. I recorded something similar in a mine in West Virginia last year. My heart skips. A mine. An abandoned coal mine. There were sounds like knocking, like someone was trapped and trying to get out, but the mine had been closed for 20 years. I nearly choke on my water. Did you ever figure out what caused it? She shakes her head. That's why I'm studying. Caves now. I think the limestone might preserve sounds from the past, like a natural recording device. After lunch, against my better judgment, I lead her deeper into the system, away from the tourist paths and into the narrower tunnels where the darkness feels alive. This is amazing, Rebecca whispers as we squeeze through a tight passage. Her voice echoes, strangely coming back to us distorted, almost like different words. We should head back soon, I say. It's easy to lose track of time down here. Just a little farther, my equipment is picking up something interesting. We emerge into a small chamber I've never shown tourists. The walls are dotted with unusual formations, thin sheets of limestone that vibrate slightly with even the smallest sound. Rebecca sets up a device that looks like a small microphone connected to a screen. As soon as she turns it on, her face goes pale. "What is it?" I ask, moving closer. "Listen," she says, handing me a pair of headphones. I put them on and freeze. Through the static, I hear a rhythmic pounding, steady, desperate, like fists against rock, like miners trapped behind a wall of collapsed stone. "It's just water. Dripping," I say, pulling off the headphones. "Sound plays tricks down here." "It's not water," she insists. "The pattern is too regular. And listen to this part." She adjusts a dial, and now I hear voices mixed with the pounding, muffled, distant. But I recognize one of them, my father. "Dave, help us, we're trapped." I yank the headphones off. "Your equipment is broken, we're leaving." "But now, Rebecca." As we gather her things, I notice something on the ground that wasn't there before. Small, white objects, arranged in a pattern. I shine my light on them. Cave crickets, dead. Their tiny bodies form letters. A name, Michael Foster. One of my miners, one of the men who died. I quickly scuff the arrangement with my boot before Rebecca can see it. "What was that?" she asks. "Nothing, just some dead insects." As we make our way back toward the main passage, I notice more strange things. Rust-colored stains seeping from the walls in places where the rock should be dry. The stains match the exact chemical signature of the equipment we used to tamper. With gas monitors, our flashlights start to flicker, though we both put in fresh batteries this morning. The temperature drops suddenly, our breath fogging in front of us. "Is this normal?" Rebecca asks, her voice tight with worry. "Sometimes the cave atmosphere changes quickly," I lie. "Nothing to worry about." But there is plenty to worry about, because now I notice that our equipment has been moved. The spare ropes and tools I left near the entrance to this section are now arranged in an arrow, pointing to a narrow crack in the wall. A crack that leads to a chamber I discovered years ago. A chamber where I hid things I never wanted found. "Did you move my gear?" I ask sharply. Rebecca looks confused. "No, I haven't touched anything of yours." A sound echoes through the tunnel. A voice, my voice. "No one will find him here. No one will know what really happened." Rebecca stares at me. "What was that?" "Just the wind," I say quickly. "Air moving through tight passages can sound like voices." But there is no wind in this section of the cave, and the voice comes again, clearer now. I had to do it. Dad was going to ruin everything, going to tell everyone what the company did, what I did. It's my voice repeating words I spoke in this very spot 3 years ago, words I spoke when I was alone, when I thought no one could hear. Rebecca's eyes widen. "Dave, what is this?" Before I can answer, more voices join mine, voices I recognize from the mine. Bobby, Mike, my father, each describing in horrible detail how I ignored warnings, falsified reports, silenced concerns. The air grows thick and acrid, smelling of coal dust and explosive gas. I start to cough, my lungs burning. "We need to get out of here," I gasp, grabbing Rebecca's arm. "Now!" As we hurry through the tunnels, the limestone walls seem to shift around us. Chambers I've known for years suddenly look different. Familiar passages lead to unfamiliar places. The cave is changing, or maybe it's showing me what was always here, hidden just beneath the surface, just like the truth. "Dave, what's happening?" Rebecca's voice shakes as we stumble through another unfamiliar passage. "I thought you knew these caves." "I do," I insist, though nothing looks right anymore. Something's wrong. The passages have changed. We reach a junction where 3 tunnels branch off. I shine my light down each one, trying to find something familiar. My beam catches something moving in the left tunnel, a dark shape, massive and shifting. "Hello?" I call out. "Is someone there?" No answer. But the shape moves again, not retreating, but growing larger, coming toward us. Let's try this way, I say quickly, pulling Rebecca toward the right tunnel. But she resists, pointing her light down the center passage. There's a draft coming from that one, she says. That means it leads out. She's right. Cave rescue basics. Follow the air. But something tells me we shouldn't go that way. Something is waiting for us. Trust me, I say, pulling harder. The right tunnel is safer. As we move down the right passage, the walls narrow until we're shuffling sideways. The rock feels different against my fingers, rougher, warmer, almost like coal. The passage suddenly widens into a chamber I've never seen before, but I recognize it instantly. The low ceiling, the support beams, the mining equipment scattered. Around, it's the Blackwater coal mine, the exact section where the explosion happened. This isn't possible, I whisper. Rebecca stares around in confusion. What is this place? We're still in Mammoth Cave, right? Before I can answer, a sound fills the chamber. The mechanical whir of drilling, the clank of shovels against rock, the voices of men calling to each other, my crew, my miners, and then the voices stop, replaced by a single sound. A steady beeping from a gas detector. The levels aren't safe, Dave. My father's voice clear, as if he's standing next to me. We need to evacuate now. It's just faulty equipment. My own voice replies. We'll fix it tomorrow. Keep working. Rebecca turns to me, her face pale in the flashlight beam. Dave, what is this? The beeping grows louder, faster. Warning of danger, warning of death. And then it appears. At first it looks like a cloud of dark dust swirling in the chamber, but the dust thickens, takes shape. A massive figure forms, towering nearly to the ceiling. A human-like body made of coal dust and broken mining equipment. Where its face should be, there's only darkness, with two glowing points like distant flashlights. But I can see parts of the miners in it too. Bobby's work gloves, Mike's lucky hard hat, my father's watch, still ticking on what might be its wrist. What is that? Rebecca screams, backing away. The thing speaks, its voice a terrible mixture of all my dead miners talking at once. Dave Brennan, foreman, safety officer, murderer. I shake my head, backing away. This isn't real. It can't be real. We know what you did, the creature continues, taking a heavy step toward us. The ground shakes. We know how you valued profit over lives, how you silenced those who would speak truth. I didn't mean for anyone to die, I say, the words spilling out before I can. Stop them. It was an accident. Was it? The creature's form shifts, revealing the face of my father for just a moment. Was it an accident when you struck me down? When you left me to die in the explosion you knew was coming? Rebecca's eyes widen. Dave, what is it talking about? Don't listen to it, I tell her. It's not real. It's some kind of hallucination from bad air. The creature laughs, a sound like rocks grinding together. The girl deserves the truth, Dave. Before she joins us, it reaches out one massive arm pointing at Rebecca. She knows too much already. That's why you brought her here, isn't it? To silence her like the others? No, I shout. I'm not that person anymore. Aren't you? The creature moves closer, coal dust swirling around it. You've been planning. It's since she first mentioned her research, calculating how to make her disappearance look like an accident, just like you always do. Rebecca backs away from both of us. You were going to kill me? No, I swear, I say, but even I hear the doubt in my voice, because the creature is right. The thought had crossed my mind more than once. The entity grows larger, absorbing the coal dust from the air. You cannot lie to us, Dave. We are every worker sacrificed for profit, every life cut short by corporate greed, every death hidden behind paperwork and payoffs. It gestures, and the chamber transforms. The walls show scenes like movies, mining accidents across decades, men and women dying while executives count money. Safety inspectors taking bribes, politicians looking the other way. You are part of something bigger, the creature says. A system that values wealth over human life, that buries its crimes, along with its victims. I try to run, but my legs won't move. The air has become thick, suffocating, filled with coal dust that burns my lungs. Feel it, Dave, the entity commands. Feel what your men felt in their final moments. The pain hits me like a freight train. My chest tightens. I can't breathe. My skin burns as if on fire. I fall to my knees, gasping. Stop, Rebecca shouts. You're killing him! He killed us, the creature responds. All of us, with his choices, his silence, his greed. Through my pain, I see Rebecca edging toward the chamber entrance. Smart girl. She's trying to escape while the thing is focused. On me? Run, I gasp, but the creature notices too. With a gesture, it causes a section of ceiling to collapse, blocking the exit. No one leaves, it says. Not until justice is done. The pain subsides slightly, enough that I can breathe again. The creature towers over me. Your mining company still operates, Dave. Different name, same practices, same deaths. The cycle continues because men like you protect the guilty. It points to my belt, where I keep my father's mining helmet attached during cave explorations. The evidence is still there. The papers that would expose it all. You kept them, but did nothing. More have died because of your silence. Rebecca looks at me, understanding dawning in her eyes. The acoustic anomalies I've been tracking, they're not natural, are they? They're the voices of the dead, the miners, your miners. I nod slowly, the truth finally spilling out. I thought I could leave it behind, start fresh, but the caves, they remember everything. The entity moves closer, its form shifting constantly between coal dust, mining equipment, and glimpses of the dead miners. The caves remember, it agrees. And now you must choose, Dave Brennan. Will you continue to bury the truth, or will you finally let it free? What do you want from me? I ask the creature, my voice barely above a whisper. The pain in my chest has eased, but every breath still burns. The truth, it answers, spoken aloud, written down, shared with the world. Rebecca moves closer to me, though I can see the fear and doubt in her eyes. Dave, what is it talking about? What papers? My hand moves to my belt, to my father's old helmet. With shaking fingers, I detach it and turn it over. The liner comes loose easily, revealing folded papers tucked inside. My father found these, I explain, my throat tight. Records of safety violations, bribes to inspectors, reports of acceptable casualties based on profit margins. Evidence that Blackwater Coal knew the risks and kept sending men down anyway. I hand the papers to Rebecca. As she unfolds them, her eyes widen. This is criminal, she says. People went to prison for less than this. They were going to destroy these, I continue. But my father made copies. He was going to go to the authorities. So you killed him, the entity says, its voice echoing through the chamber. Your own father. Rebecca looks at me, horror on her face. Is that true? I can't meet her eyes. It was an accident. We argued. I pushed him. He fell and hit his head on equipment. I didn't mean to kill him. But you did, the entity says. And then you let everyone else die in the explosion to cover your crime. No, I shout. I didn't cause the explosion. I didn't stop it when I could have. The creature grows larger, more solid, less like dust and more like a giant made of coal and stone. Choices have consequences, Dave. Silence has a cost, paid in blood. It reaches out one massive hand and touches the wall. The rock ripples like water, and suddenly we're looking at another chamber of the mine. Men working, the gas detector beeping. You can save them, the entity says. Tell them to evacuate. Tell them the truth. I step toward the image, knowing it's not real, but unable to stop myself. "Get out!" I shout to the miners. "The detector's right. The gas levels are too high." But they can't hear me. The scene plays out exactly as I remember. The men keep working. The beeping continues. "They can't hear you," the entity says. Just as no one heard them when they begged for help, when they pounded on fallen rock until their hands bled. The chamber shakes. Dust falls from the ceiling. The images on the wall change, showing other mines, other accidents, other deaths. "It didn't stop with Blackwater," the creature says. "The same company bought other mines, changed its name, continued the same practices. More have died because the truth stayed buried." Rebecca holds up the papers. "We can still expose them. Take these to the authorities." The entity turns its glowing eyes to her. "If you leave this cave with those papers, the company will know. They have people everywhere, in the park service, in the police, in the government. They will silence you, just as Dave planned to do." I wasn't going to hurt her, I insist, but the lie tastes bitter in my mouth. "Weren't you?" The entity waves its hand, and the chamber fills with my thoughts from earlier. My calculations about how easy it would be if Rebecca got lost in the cave system. How no one would question a tragic accident. Rebecca backs away from me. "You were planning to kill me." "I thought about it," I admit, "but I didn't do it. I wouldn't have." "Just like you wouldn't have let your crew die?" she asks. "Just like you wouldn't have hurt your father?" The ground shakes again, harder this time. A crack appears in the ceiling, spreading slowly across the rock. "The cave is becoming unstable," the entity says. "A decision must be made. Will you bury the truth again, Dave, or will you finally set it free?" I look at Rebecca, at the papers in her hand, at the cracks spreading through the ceiling. I could still do it. 'Cause a cave in. Make it look like an accident. Bury the evidence, and the only witness. Go back to my life as Ranger Dave, the man who tried to save a foolish student who ventured too deep. As if reading my thoughts, the entity speaks again. "Choose, Dave Brennan, but know this, the cave remembers. The truth always finds a way out." A large chunk of ceiling crashes down nearby, sending dust billowing around us. Rebecca coughs, covering her mouth with her sleeve. "We need to get out of here," she says. "There's only one way out now," the entity tells us, pointing to a narrow passage I've never seen before. "Through the truth." More rocks fall. The chamber is collapsing. We have seconds, not minutes. I make my decision. "Rebecca, go!" I shout, pushing her toward the passage. "Take the papers. Get them to someone who can use them." "What about you?" she asks. I shake my head. "I'll be right behind you. Go." She hesitates, then runs for the passage, clutching the papers to her chest. As soon as she's through, I turn to the entity. "Is this what you want?" I ask it. "My confession, my death?" "We want justice," it answers. "For all of us." I nod, understanding finally. "Then I'll give it to you." I pull out my lighter, standard ranger equipment for setting emergency signal fires. But instead of following Rebecca, I turn to the collapsing chamber. "I'm sorry," I whisper to the ghosts of my crew, my father, "for everything." I light the papers I kept hidden in my pocket, my copies of the evidence. The flames catch quickly, spreading to my uniform. The fire won't last long in the damp cave air, but it will last long enough. The entity watches, its form shifting between coal dust and the faces of the dead. "This solves nothing," it says. "The evidence will still leave with the girl." "I know," I reply, "but this isn't about destroying evidence anymore. It's about accepting punishment." More of the ceiling collapses. A support beam, somehow here in this impossible mine within a cave, breaks with a loud crack. The way out is being sealed, just as the mine was sealed 5 years ago. "Tell them I pushed her to safety," I say to the entity as the flames crawl up my arm. "Tell them Ranger Dave died a hero." "Is that what you think this is?" The entity asks. "Heroism?" I laugh, a painful sound through smoke-filled lungs. No, it's justice. Finally. The ceiling gives way completely. Tons of rock crash down. The last thing I see is the entity reaching for me, coal dust swirling around its massive form. And then darkness. 3 days later, Rebecca Torres sits in a small office at the Mammoth Cave, National Park headquarters. Her clothes are clean now, but she can still feel the cave dust in her hair, under her fingernails. The park director and 2 rangers sit across from her, along with a man in a dark suit who introduced himself as Agent Wilson from the Department of the Interior. So you're saying Ranger Brennan led you to safety before the cave-in? Agent Wilson asks, his pen hovering over his notepad. Rebecca looks down at her hands. They're still scratched from her desperate crawl through the narrow passage. Yes, she says quietly. He pushed me into the tunnel and told me to run. Said he'd be right behind me. This isn't exactly a lie. Dave did push her toward safety. What she doesn't mention is the fire she glimpsed before the passage collapsed. The sound of his confession echoing through the stone. The faces she saw in the swirling dust. And these papers, Agent Wilson continues, tapping the folder on the table. You're claiming Brennan gave them to you? Evidence of corporate negligence at Blackwater Coal going back decades. Yes. This time she meets his eyes. He said people needed to know the truth. The park director shifts uncomfortably. It's very convenient that Brennan isn't here to confirm this story. Convenient? Rebecca's voice shakes with anger. A man is dead. What my colleague means, Agent Wilson says smoothly, is that these are serious allegations against a major employer in this region. Without Brennan's testimony... The papers speak for themselves, Rebecca insists. Names, dates, safety violations. People died because of these decisions. We'll need to verify everything, Wilson says, closing the folder. In the meantime, I'll need you to sign this statement. He slides a document across the table. Rebecca reads it carefully, then frowns. This says nothing about the evidence Dave gave me, nothing about Blackwater Coal or its successor companies. Wilson smiles thinly. We're just focusing on the accident, and for now, the rest will be handled by the appropriate authorities. Like it was 5 years ago, Rebecca asks, when those miners died and no one was held responsible? The temperature in the room seems to drop. The lights flicker briefly. Miss Torres, the park director says, you've been through a traumatic experience. Perhaps you should rest before making accusations. Rebecca looks at each of their faces. The director won't meet her eyes. The rangers look uncomfortable. Only Wilson stares back, his expression unreadable. I made copies, she says quietly. Wilson's smile falters. Excuse me? Before I came here today, I made copies of everything, sent them to my thesis advisor, my parents, and a reporter I know at the Louisville Courier-Journal. The lie comes easily. She hasn't made copies, yet, but they don't know that. That was unwise, Wilson says, his voice hardening. These documents are now part of an ongoing federal investigation. Then investigate, Rebecca says, standing up, because if anything happens to me or to those papers, people will know why. As she turns to leave, the lights flicker again. A cold breeze moves through the room, though all the windows are closed. For just a moment, Rebecca thinks she smells coal dust. Miss Torres, Wilson calls after her, this isn't over. No, she agrees, pausing at the door. It's just beginning. That night, alone in her motel room, Rebecca spreads the papers across the bed. Her hands shake as she dials the number for the Courier-Journal. News desk, a bored voice answers. I have a story, Rebecca says, about Blackwater Coal and the men who died there, about a cover-up that's still going on. Yeah? Who is this? My name is Rebecca Torres, but this story isn't about me. It's about Dave Brennan and the choice he finally made. As she begins to explain, she notices something strange. The papers on the bed are moving slightly, though there's no breeze in the room. shifting into a pattern. An arrow pointing to a name she hadn't noticed before. The next target for cleanup by the mining company's safety team. The next acceptable casualty. Rebecca reads the name and feels cold all the way to her bones. Rebecca Torres. Somewhere deep in the earth, the cave remembers. The limestone walls record her fear, her determination. They will hold these sounds for years, decades, centuries. And if you visit Mammoth Cave in the quiet chambers far from the tourist paths, you might hear whispers, voices telling a story of greed and death and truth finally breaking free, because the cave remembers everything, even the things that haven't happened yet. In offices across America, executives read the morning papers with growing concern. The Blackwater story is spreading. Questions are being asked. Files are being opened. They make calls. They send emails. They activate contingency plans. But what they don't realize is that it's already too late. The truth is out now, echoing like a shout in a cave. And somewhere, in the darkness underground, the entity made of coal dust and broken men smiles with satisfaction. Justice, like sound, in a cave always finds its way through the darkness, eventually. My name is Nathan Cross, and I've been a park ranger at Okefenokee Swamp for almost 3 years now. People call this place beautiful. They come here to take pictures of the cypress trees with Spanish moss hanging down like old beards. They point at the reddish water and say how pretty it looks in the sunlight. They don't know what I know. This morning I woke up before dawn like I always do. The mist was hanging low over the water as I took my boat out for the daily patrol. Something felt off. The water levels were down again, and not in the natural way that happens with the seasons. This was different. Areas that should be flooded were dry, with mud cracking in the sun. The cypress trees at the edges looked sick, their roots exposed. The Spanish moss hanging from them looked more like body bags than beards. I've heard rumors about illegal draining happening at night. Some big company wants to build here, but they can't just announce it. So they're killing the swamp slowly, making it look natural. The water itself tells another story. People think the red color comes from tree stuff. Tannins, they're called. That's what I tell the tourists too. But last week I took samples from the far eastern section where no tourists go. The tests don't lie. That's not natural color. That's chemical waste, made to look like it belongs here. Beautiful poison. I radio back to headquarters. Base, this is Cross. Eastern sector looks clear. That's what I'm supposed to say. That's what they want to hear. Copy that, Cross. Anything unusual to report? It's Johnson from the corporate cleanup team that's been here for months. They say they're helping preserve the swamp. I know better now. Negative, all normal. I lie, watching a group of alligators moving in a straight line, almost like they're marching. Alligators don't do that, not unless something's changed them. I've been seeing weird things lately. Water flowing uphill in some spots, sinkholes appearing overnight in patterns that look almost planned. And the animals, they're different. The alligators are more aggressive, but also smarter somehow. Last week, I swear I saw one watching me, turning its head to keep me in sight as I moved. That's not normal gator behavior. The air doesn't feel right either. The morning mist should be clean, but my throat burns after a patrol. Some mornings I see things that can't be there, like shapes moving under the water that are too big to be any creature that belongs here. The guys at the station say it's stress. Gulf War just ended and everyone's jumpy. Some of the new rangers are veterans, talking about chemical weapons and how exposure messes with your head. I drift past a section where the ground drops away suddenly. Another sinkhole, right where the water runs that reddish-purple color. I've mapped these sinkholes over the past month. They follow the exact route where those corporate trucks drive at night when they think nobody's watching. My radio crackles again. Cross, we're getting some unusual readings at Station 4. Can you check it out? On my way, I say, knowing what I'll find. Nothing. The sensors will be reset by the time I get there. They're not monitoring pollution, they're hiding it. As I turn the boat around, a fish floats belly up past me, then another, and another. Their scales are deformed, some with growths that look almost like words. Nature is trying to tell us something, trying to fight back against what we've done to it. What they've done to it, what I've let happen. I'm supposed to be protecting this place, but the swamp is dying and I'm just watching it happen. Maybe it's already too late. Maybe the poison has already spread too far. The mist swirls around me as I head back, and for a second I think I see a shape standing in the water ahead, something tall and wrong and angry. Then I blink, and it's gone. Just another hallucination from breathing these chemical fumes, I tell myself. But deep down, I know better. Something is waking up in the Okefenokee, something born from poison and neglect and corporate greed. And I have the terrible feeling it knows my name. I wasn't always a park ranger. 5 years ago, I worked for the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. My job was to make sure companies followed the rules about what they could put into the air and water. I was supposed to protect places like this swamp, but I failed. No, that's not right. Failing means you tried. I didn't fail. I sold out. It started small. A company man taking me to dinner, talking about how hard the regulations were on business. Then came game tickets, weekend trips, and finally, cash in envelopes. Just look the other way, they'd say. Everyone does it, and I did. I signed papers saying their waste wasn't harmful when I knew it was. I changed numbers on reports so they wouldn't get in trouble. I told my bosses everything was fine when I knew toxic chemicals were being dumped where they shouldn't be. Some of those chemicals are right here in this swamp. I know because I helped put them here. That's why I became a ranger after I left the EPA. I thought I could make up for what I did, protect nature instead of helping destroy it. But I was just running away from what I'd done. My hands shake as I pull my boat up to the research station where Dr. Lisa Hartwell works. She's a marine biologist studying the swamp's ecosystem. She thinks I'm helping her. She doesn't know I'm the reason her research keeps finding strange things in the water. "Nathan, just the man I wanted to see," she calls out as I tie up the boat. She's holding a clipboard and wearing rubber gloves stained with swamp water. "I've got some unusual samples I want you to look at." My stomach tightens. What kind of samples? Fish with genetic mutations, and the pattern is, well, you need to see this. I follow her into the lab, a small building on stilts at the edge of the swamp. The walls are lined with equipment I helped get approved. Equipment that's supposed to detect pollution, but has been modified to hide it instead. Lisa pulls out a tray with 3 fish. Their bodies are twisted, with growths that form strange patterns. "Look at the markings," she says, pointing to the largest fish. "They almost form letters." I lean closer, and my blood goes cold. The markings spell out Chemcore, one of the companies that paid me to look the other way. "Probably just random," I say, my mouth dry. "That's what I thought too, until I plotted where we found these specimens." She unfolds a map of the swamp. The deformities follow specific patterns concentrated in these areas. She's marked 5 spots on the map. They match exactly with locations where I approved chemical dumping. It's like the swamp itself is trying to tell on me. "I feel sick all the time lately," I say, changing the subject. "Headaches, trouble breathing." Lisa looks concerned. "You should see a doctor. Could be the water or air quality. Our equipment isn't picking up anything dangerous," but she doesn't finish the sentence, but I know what she's thinking. Something's wrong with our equipment. What she doesn't know is that it's supposed to be wrong. My ranger kit includes special meters to test water and air. The companies gave them to me. They look normal, but they're set to show safe levels even when the poison is strong enough to kill. "I'll run some more tests," Lisa says. "In the meantime, be careful out there." As I leave the lab, my radio crackles. Cross, we need you at the visitor center. The visitor center sits on land I personally approved for development. What the public doesn't know is that before it was built, trucks came at night for weeks, burying barrels deep in the ground. Now tourists walk on top of a toxic waste dump, and I smile and hand out maps, telling them which trails are safe. None of them are truly safe. I know that now. My chest feels tight as I walk. It's getting harder to breathe out here. Part of me thinks it's fair I should suffer from the same poison I helped put here. But the tourists, the kids who come to see alligators and birds, they don't deserve this. Neither does Lisa. She's trying to help, to understand what's happening to the swamp. And every day she gets closer to discovering what I did. Sometimes at night I think I hear voices in my cabin, whispers saying my name, telling me they know what I did. I tell myself it's just the wind or my guilty conscience. But deep down, I'm starting to think it's something else. Something growing in the poisoned waters. Something that remembers who hurt it. And it's coming for me. A week has passed since Lisa showed me those fish. I've been avoiding the research station, making excuses about patrol routes and paperwork. But today, she radioed me directly. "Nathan, I need you here now. This can't wait." Her voice sounded different. Scared, maybe? Or angry? I couldn't tell. Which was worse. When I arrive, Lisa is standing outside, waiting. Her face is pale, her hands shaking slightly as she holds a stack of papers. "I've been mapping the dead zones in the swamp," she says without greeting me. "Areas where nothing grows anymore." She hands me the papers. They're maps with red circles, showing where plant life has died off completely. My heart pounds as you flip through them. The pattern is unmistakable. They match the locations of every company that paid me bribes. "What's strange," Lisa continues, "is how precise these dead zones are. It's like something deliberately killed everything in these exact spots." I hand the papers back, trying to keep my hands steady. "Could be natural. Swamps change all the time." Lisa shakes her head. "That's what I thought at first. Then I tested soil samples." She pauses, watching me closely. "The chemicals I found aren't in any of our database records, Nathan. But they should be. They're industrial compounds that should have been reported years ago." The look she gives me makes my skin crawl. Does she know? Has she figured out what I did? "I need to show you something else," she says, leading me into the lab. The research station sits on wooden stilts above the water. As we walk across the floor, I notice how the boards creak under our weight. This building is only 3 years old, but it sounds like it's falling apart already. Inside, Lisa points to a computer screen showing a satellite image of the swamp. "This is where our station is built." She zooms in, then pulls up an older image. "And this is what was here before they built it." The older image shows a clearing with dozens of industrial barrels. "This was a dump site," she says. "Someone approved building our research station on top of a toxic waste dump." That someone was me. I signed the papers that said this land was clean and safe to build on. I took $50,000 cash to do it. The station itself is making us sick, Nathan. The equipment, the water we use, it's all contaminated. As if to prove her point, a sharp smell suddenly fills the lab. It's chemical, burning my nose and throat. I recognize it instantly. Methyl benzoate with traces of sulfur compounds. It's a signature blend from Chemcor's plants. I remember the day their CEO handed me an envelope of cash while explaining how their waste disposal worked. "Do you smell that?" Lisa asks, coughing. "Yes," I say, my mouth dry. "We should get out of here." But as we turn to leave, the radio on my belt crackles to life. Instead of the usual static and voices, there's a recording playing. My voice. "The levels are within acceptable parameters," my recorded voice says. "Chemcor's disposal methods meet all EPA guidelines. I recommend approval of their permit." Lisa stares at me, her eyes widening. Nathan, what is that? I don't know, I lie, reaching to shut off the radio, but it gets louder. In exchange for expedited approval, my voice continues, I will accept the proposed consultation fee of $30,000. Lisa backs away from me. That's you. That's your voice. Lisa, I can explain. You did this? Her voice rises. You're the reason the swamp is dying? Before I can answer, we hear voices outside. Soft whispers that seem to come from the water itself. Dozens of voices, maybe hundreds, all speaking at once. What is that? Lisa asks. Moving to the window, I follow her, looking out at the swamp. The water around the station has turned deep red, almost like blood. And floating on the surface are fish, hundreds of dead fish, their bodies arranged to spell out words. You killed us. We need to leave, I say, grabbing Lisa's arm. Now. But as we turn to the door, we see something that stops us cold, half buried. In the mud near our boats are industrial barrels, their sides rusted and leaking, barrels that weren't visible this morning. And on each one is a shipping label clearly showing the destination. Okefenokee Disposal Site approved by Nathan Cross, EPA. You knew, Lisa whispers. You've known all along. The floor beneath us creaks again, louder this time. Then there's a crack, and the whole building shifts. The research station is sinking into the swamp. The stilts are giving way, I shout. We have to get out. We run for the door as the building tilts. Outside, our boats have drifted away from the dock, as if pushed by invisible hands. We'll have to wade, I say, looking at the reddish water, that now seems more like blood than ever. Nathan, Lisa says quietly, pointing to her air quality monitor. Look. Please. The readings on the small device are off the charts, showing toxin levels hundreds of times higher than what's safe. Levels that match exactly what I reported as safe in my falsified EPA reports. As we stand there, the whispers grow louder. They're not coming from the water anymore, they're coming from the air around us, and now I can make out what they're saying. Nathan Cross, you let us die. Now it's your turn. The voices of people who lived downstream from the chemical plants, people who drank contaminated water because of reports I falsified, people who died slowly from cancers that could have been prevented. Do you hear that? I ask Lisa. She shakes her head, looking confused and frightened. Hear what, Nathan? We need to go. The research station gives another lurch, tilting further into the water. But I can't move. Because standing in the swamp just beyond the dock, I see something impossible. The boardroom of Chemcorp, somehow transported here. The executives sitting around their table, looking at me expectantly, waiting for me to sign the papers that would doom this swamp. It's not real, I whisper to myself. It can't be real. But as the building continues to sink and the voices grow louder, I'm no longer sure what's real and what isn't. All I know is that the swamp knows what I did, and it wants justice. We barely made it out of the sinking research station. Lisa and I waded through the red water to reach higher ground, our clothes soaked with what smelled more like chemicals than swamp water. The station disappeared completely, swallowed by the mud and poison that I helped put there. We need to call for help, Lisa says, wringing water from her shirt. Her hands are red and blistered from the water. We need to report what's happening here. I nod, but I know my radio won't work. None of our equipment works right anymore. Lisa, I say slowly, there's something I need to tell you about my time at the EPA. But before I can confess, we hear a splash from the water behind us. Not a small splash like a fish jumping, but something big. We turn around at the same time. There, rising from the reddish water, is something that shouldn't exist. At first, I think it's an alligator standing on its hind legs. But alligators don't stand 9 or 10 feet tall. And they don't have arms with long fingers ending in claws that look like they're made of rusted metal. Its skin is a patchwork of scales and what looks like industrial materials, rubber, plastic, metal, all somehow grown together. Where its eyes should be are two glowing points that look like chemical fires burning in deep sockets. "What is that?" Lisa whispers, backing away slowly. I can't answer, I can't speak at all, because I know what it is, even though I've never seen anything like it before. It's the swamp itself, changed by the chemicals I helped dump here. Evolution twisted, by poison into something new, something angry. The creature opens its mouth, and instead of a roar, a cloud of yellowish gas pours out. The gas swirls around us, and as I breathe it in, I see things, images flashing in my mind. A child drinking from a stream that runs red with chemicals. A woman gardening in soil poisoned by industrial waste. A man fishing in waters where nothing healthy lives anymore. All of them getting sick. All of them dying slowly while companies count their profits. All because of papers I signed, bribes I took. The visions fade, and I find myself on my knees, gasping. Lisa is beside me, looking confused and scared. "Did you see that?" I ask. "See what?" "Nathan, we need to run." She didn't see the visions. The creature is showing them only to me. It knows who I am, what I did. The thing takes a step toward us, water pouring off its massive body. Where it steps, the plants wither and die instantly. "Run," I tell Lisa, pulling her to her feet. We run along the narrow path, the creature following behind us. Not quickly. It doesn't need to hurry. It knows these swamps better than we do. It is these swamps. As we run, I notice the wildlife around us behaving strangely. Alligators slide into the water at our approach, but instead of swimming away, they follow alongside our path. Birds fly overhead in formations too perfect to be natural. Even the insects seem to move in coordinated patterns, like they're all controlled by a single mind. The animals, Lisa pants as we run, they're working together. She's right. The swamp's creatures have changed, evolved rapidly to survive in this toxic soup. And now they're working with the creature. They're part of it. We reach a clearing where several paths meet. Which way? I look around, trying to get my bearings, but nothing looks right anymore. The swamp I've patrolled for 3 years suddenly feels alien. "This way," I say, pointing to a path that should lead to the ranger station. But as we move toward it, 3 alligators crawl onto the path, blocking our way. Their scales are warped, with strange growths that look like metal plates, fused to their bodies. Their eyes glow with the same chemical fire as the creatures. "Not that way," Lisa says, backing up. We try another path, but birds swoop down, their beaks and claws striking at us, driving us back. They're herding us, I realize aloud. We're being driven toward a specific place, and I think I know where. The largest illegal dump site in the swamp. The place where the most toxic chemicals were buried. As we're forced down the only open path, the air grows thicker with chemical smells. My eyes burn, and each breath feels like fire in my lungs. I can't... Lisa stumbles, coughing, can't breathe right. I help her along, but I'm struggling too. The poison in the air is getting stronger. We emerge into a wide clearing where the trees have died, their bare branches reaching up like skeletal hands. The ground here is bare mud that bubbles with gases escaping from below. And standing in the center of the clearing is the creature, waiting for us. It looks even larger, now almost 30 feet tall. Parts of its body seem to be constantly changing, like it's still figuring out its final form. Bits of trash and industrial waste are embedded in its skin. Plastic bottles, pieces of metal, even what looks like part of a barrel with hazard symbols still visible. "What do you want?" I shout at it, pushing Lisa behind me. The creature doesn't speak. Instead, it reaches one massive hand toward me, and as it does, more gas pours from its body. This time, when the visions come, they're not of humans. I see the swamp as it was 100 years ago, pristine, full of life. Then I see it changing. As humans arrive, pollution seeping in, animals dying, plants withering, the water turning toxic. And through it all, I see the role I played. Each falsified report, each bribe taken, each barrel of waste that should have been properly disposed of, but instead was dumped here to save money. The creature isn't just showing me what I did. It's showing me that it remembers. The swamp remembers. When the vision's clear, I find myself on my knees again. Lisa is shaking me. "Nathan, what's happening to you?" I look up at her, then at a creature. It's showing me what we did to this place, what I did, what you did. Lisa looks confused, then her eyes widen. Those recordings on the radio, that really was you. Before I can answer, the creature moves closer. I try to back away, but my body won't respond. I'm frozen in place. The creature leans down until its face is near mine. Up close, I can see that what I thought were scales are actually thousands of tiny mutated creatures, fish, insects, reptiles, all fused together into a new kind of skin. It's like the swamp has taken everything that managed to survive the pollution and combined them into this single entity. It reaches out one claw and touches my forehead. Instead of pain, I feel judgment. Like every living thing I've ever harmed is looking at me at once, judging me for what I've done. I try to pull out my knife, my gun, anything to defend myself. But the creature simply watches, almost curious. When I finally manage to draw my ranger's knife and slash at its arm, the blade just passes through like I'm cutting smoke. The creature can't be hurt by my weapons because it isn't really one thing. It's everything. It's the swamp's answer to what humans like me have done to it. "I'm sorry," I whisper, dropping the knife. "I know that doesn't fix anything, but I'm sorry." The creature tilts its head as if considering my words. Then it turns away, moving back toward the center of the clearing. For a moment, I think it's leaving, that maybe my apology meant something. Then the ground beneath us begins to shake. The ground shakes harder, and cracks appear in the mud. From these cracks, a red liquid bubbles up. Not water, but something thicker. It smells like chemicals and rust and decay. "We need to get to higher ground," I tell Lisa, grabbing her arm, but there is no higher ground anymore. The whole clearing is sinking, becoming a pool of red chemical soup. The liquid rises quickly, already up to our ankles. Where it touches my skin, it burns. "Nathan," Lisa says, her voice shaking with fear and anger. "You knew about this all along, didn't you? You helped make this happen." I can't lie anymore, not here, not now. "Yes," I admit. "I took money to look the other way, to sign off on dumping toxic waste here. I told myself it wasn't that bad, that the swamp could handle it." I look at the creature watching us, at the dead trees, at the red poison rising around us. I was wrong. Lisa stares at me, and I see the moment when everything clicks into place for her. "All my research," she says quietly. "All the mutations, the dead zones. I've been documenting your crimes without even knowing it. The red liquid is up to our knees now. Each passing second brings more pain as the chemicals eat at our skin. I need to get you out of here," I say. "You have the evidence. You can expose what happened here." "Both of us," Lisa insists. "We're both getting out." But I know better. The creature isn't done with me yet. The swamp wants justice. The liquid continues to rise, now at our waists. The pain is getting worse. My legs feel like they're on fire. "There!" Lisa points to a fallen tree that bridges part of the clearing. "We can use that to get across." We wade toward it, fighting against the thickening liquid. But as we get closer, I notice something. The tree isn't a tree at all. It's a massive pipe, one of the ones used to pump waste into the ground. And printed on its side is the logo of a company I remember well. The same company that gave me my biggest bribe. The creature moves, sliding through the red liquid like it's clear water. It positions itself between us and the pipe. It doesn't want us to leave, I say. What does it want? Lisa asks, her teeth chattering from pain and fear. I look at the creature, at its eyes burning like chemical fires, and I know. It wants me to choose, I say, to finally take responsibility. I reach into my pocket and pull out my ranger's notebook. Inside is everything I know, names of companies, dates, of illegal dumping, amounts of bribes, locations of waste sites. I've been keeping it for years, telling myself it was insurance, but really it was evidence of my guilt. Take this, I say, handing it to Lisa. It's waterproof. Inside is everything you need to expose what happened here. Names, dates, amounts, everything. Lisa takes the notebook. What are you going to do? I look at the creature, then back at her. I'm going to give it what it wants. Before she can stop me, I wade deeper into the red liquid toward the creature. The pain is almost unbearable now. Each step feels like walking through fire. You want me? I shout at it. Here I am! Leave her out of this! She's innocent! The creature turns its burning gaze fully on me. Again, that gas pours from its mouth and I'm hit with more visions. But different ones this time. I see myself confessing to my crimes. I see the companies being held accountable. I see the swamp being cleaned up, slowly healing. I see a future where I'm not part of the cover-up anymore, where I help fix what I broke. When the vision's clear, I understand. The creature, the swamp, doesn't just want revenge. It wants healing. It wants the truth to come out. I'll do it, I tell the creature. I'll tell everyone what happened here, what I did. I'll make it right. The creature watches me for a long moment, then slowly it sinks back into the red liquid until only its glowing eyes remain visible. The ground stops shaking. Nathan, Lisa calls. The liquid is draining. She's right. The red poison is receding, flowing back into the cracks in the ground. Within minutes, we're standing in mud again, our skin raw and blistered but alive. What just happened? Lisa asks. I think we made a deal, I say. The swamp is giving us a chance to set things right. We make our way back toward the ranger station, following trails that now seem to open up for us instead of being blocked. The animals watch us pass but make no move to stop us. At the station, most of the other rangers are gone, evacuated according to a note left behind. Reports of toxic gas and contaminated water led to an emergency protocol being activated. We need to call the real EPA, I tell Lisa. Not the people I used to work with, but the ones who actually care. They need to know everything. Lisa holds up my notebook. With this, they'll have to listen. I nod, but a wave of dizziness hits me. I stumble, catching myself on the edge of a desk. Nathan? Lisa looks concerned. Are you okay? I'm not. My skin isn't just blistered. It's turning a strange color where the chemicals touched it. My breathing is getting harder. The exposure was too much, too long. You need to get to a hospital, Lisa says, but I shake my head. Not yet. First, we make the call. We tell them everything. As Lisa dials the phone, I look out the window at the swamp. In the distance, I think I can see the creature watching us, making sure we keep our end of the bargain. I pick up the station's radio. This is Ranger Nathan Cross at Okefenokee Station 7. I need to report an environmental emergency and confess to criminal negligence. The person on the other end sounds confused, but I keep talking. I tell them everything, the bribes, the dumping, the cover-up. I give names, dates, locations. I empty myself of secrets. When I'm done, I hand the radio to Lisa so she can add her scientific findings. As she speaks, I feel myself getting weaker. They're sending people, Lisa says when she finishes. Specialists in hazardous materials and environmental cleanup, and police. She looks at me sadly. They'll want to arrest you. Good, I say. It's what I deserve. Another wave of dizziness hits me, stronger this time. I slide to the floor, my back against the wall. The pain is spreading through my body. My skin feels like it's on fire. Nathan! Lisa kneels beside me. Hold on, they're sending medical help too. But I know it's too late for me. The chemicals in that red liquid were too concentrated, too toxic. My body is shutting down. It's okay, I tell her. This is fair. The swamp is just collecting what I owe. Don't talk like that, Lisa says, tears in her eyes. You're going to be fine. You're going to testify against those companies. I try to smile, but my face feels numb. You'll do it for me. You have the notebook. You have the evidence. Outside, I hear helicopters approaching. Help is coming, but not for me. Look, I whisper, pointing out the window. The swamp is changing. The red tint is fading from the water. Birds are returning, flying in natural patterns again. The unnatural mist is clearing. It's already healing, Lisa says in wonder. No, I correct her. It's just not being poisoned anymore. The healing will take time. I grab her hand with what strength I have left. Promise me you'll make sure they clean it. Up, all of it. Make them fix what we broke. I promise, Lisa says, squeezing my hand. My vision is getting dark around the edges. I think about all the people who got sick because of what I did. All the animals that died. All the plants that withered. I can't fix that. I can't bring them back. But maybe my death can be the start of something better. Maybe the truth can finally help the swamp heal. With my last bit of strength, I look out the window again. The creature is there, standing at the edge of the water, not threatening now, just waiting, watching. As the darkness closes in, I think I see it nod at me. A gesture of not forgiveness. Exactly, but acknowledgement, a deal fulfilled. Then everything goes dark.